my microphone software, but I'm catching up on it. Out of touch. Test 1 2 3 1 2. How's it sound, gentlemen? How you sounding?
Testing 1 2 1 2 testing.
I sound delightful. My voice is delicious. This is my ASMR.
For those of you guys in chat, how's everybody sound? Anybody low besides ASMR Creepy Man?
Look at him.
Shut up, Cal. Shut up.
What's up, Nathan, Sim, Jeff, back from the dead, and GK Bowles. Bowles?
Yo.
Probably not Bowles.
Not Bowles. Yeah, probably not Bowles.
Probably not Bowles. Bowles.
Yeah.
Bowles.
Sam.
I wonder what you do in your free time. A little too many
Sam
bowls.
888 Abel. What's going on?
Everything sounds good. All right, we can start our recordings in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hit 'em.
Bam. All right.
All right. I think everything is good. Connection has been better.
Nice.
They did that part switch, which is good. Still supposed to get a new node, but seems to be a little better, so not complete trash.
It's been good. Okay. I was about that. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Upload increase a little bit.
Better. I mean, it's closer to 40 than it was. I was hitting half of that before, so it does seem a bit. But yeah. So I think we're good. Everybody shake out all the kinks. We're ready. I think I got all my documents open.
You can't shake out all of my kinks. I will not be kink shamed.
No, sir.
Wow. It's starting early. Cool.
Shout to the monetization lords, yo. Getting it in early. Get it out of our system.
Yep, getting it out. All right.
I have no option.
All right, we'll go silence on the set. We'll get started in 5. Psych! I'm going to take the intro on this one. Welcome to The Last Word, episode number 178. And we are here around the campfire for the last time in 2021. And what a year it has been. PS5 and Xbox Series X turned 1 year old. The thing that shall not be named is starting its 3rd year. And we didn't actually have a major Destiny expansion this year, which is weird to say. That doesn't mean it's been a quiet year in the franchise, and to some it may have been the best year yet. But before we talk about that, we are very lucky to be able to chat with everyone who is here for the live chat, who listens through iTunes or Spotify or any audio platform as you take us on the go, or on YouTube in the following days. Thank you all so much for being with us for so many episodes and making it honestly our biggest year yet. Shout out to Vagabondo for the super chat as well. Thank you very much for being both naughty and nice. Right in the middle of the intro. You're welcome, buddy. You earned it. I also want to take a second to thank our newest host. This man has had an amazing year. Reviewing mini games for IGN. We are all sorry for Nerf Legends, though. We are sorry. Joining the exclusive club of hosts for Fireteam Chat. Got to see a new Fast and Furious movie this year, and really has succeeded on so many fronts, personal, commercial, and just everywhere that we know him on. And yet somehow made time during the second half of the year to join the Campfire of the Last Word as a permanent host. Thank you, sir, for the fun that you bring, the hot takes that keeps things very spicy, and even your long-running segments. Very lucky to have you join us, and thank you for all these chats. But not to be outdone, my co-host, Ninja Incognito, and now member of Last Stand Media. This man was on 1,000 podcasts this year, or at least it feels like it, and then he was called up to the majors when he filled some huge shoes and joined Defining Duke as a co-host with Lord Manny Plays. If you haven't listened to him chat about Xbox, even if you prefer the other box, you are missing out on some great discussions. And because that wasn't enough, he decided to follow in the ways of the Zuck and is now part of the meta. Well, kinda. He is now part of the Oculus team who will take us into the VR future so we can end up like all those people in WALL-E. There is some irony, though, when a man who is so anti-meta actually now has become one with the meta, in a matter of speaking. But seriously, congratulations to all of your success this year, and can't wait to see what 2022 holds for you, for Travis, and myself. So, sappy intro out of the way, let's jump into this episode. How have you been doing, fellas?
Oh, look at that. Surprise. We weren't even aware of this.
No, we weren't aware. That's very nice. I feel all warm and fuzzy. I feel like we got to do one for Ebontis.
I know.
We didn't prepare one, but maybe we should improvise. The man who stopped kickboxing this year so he could spend more time with his viewers on Twitch.
Yes.
partnerships up the wazoo. Now he's selling those sugars. What are they?
Yes.
Powders.
It's not sugar.
Those powdered
Thanks,
drinks.
It's not sugar.
Yeah.
Wow. See, this is why you write one of these in advance.
Advanced. The boy got advanced.
Shout out to Advanced GG. This podcast and much of my wake time is
yes,
and mobile games.
Yes,
as well.
Part of Advanced GG. Outriders ambassador. Tremendous channel growth. Just to see what's going on with him as he climbs, he ascends the Destiny community ranks as well. Also acknowledged by Bungie numerous times, and yeah, just a great friend, co-host, the immaculate one himself, Ebontis of the Last Word. Now we do.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. And shout out to Gaming Forte. The holidays are over. I can lay back and relax for the next 10 months until I have to do it all over again. Thanks for making my 21 better. Love you. Thank you, Gaming Forte, for being here. Vagabondo as well. Both of you guys jumping in, starting the super chats early. Nice. So our goal with this episode, so you guys know, depending on what you're looking to listen to, we want a Destiny 2 2021 recap, kind of go through our thoughts on the seasons, kind of hit the high points, see what sticks out to us as big, bad, ugly, and good. And then also our 2022 kind of predictions and hopes for Destiny, as Witch Queen has got a lot of weight on it, so we will see. And then we've also got the second half, kind of want to do our quick takes on just our top video games of 2021, because this is not the only thing that we play, and just kind of our most anticipated for 2022 for us as well. So that's kind of the general rundown of what we are going to be working on. And that intro stuff out of the way. Gentlemen, no guests or anything, just the three hosts sitting around the campfire, live chat, keeping us entertained as always, if Travis doesn't manage to do it all the time anyway.
Yes, by himself.
But yeah, Destiny 2 2021, no expansion this year, and yet you could maybe push Beyond Light into this thing because, Stasis pretty much lived all throughout this year. But we had Beyond Light, Season of the Hunt, paired with that one. Had Season of the Chosen, kick us off towards the start of the year. Season of the Splicer, Season of the Lost, 30th anniversary. A lot of things happened this year, kind of chronologically for you guys. If we start with Beyond Light, a little bit of Stasis, LC, Anna, Clovis, Exotics, you've got Lament, No Time to Explain, Cloudstrike, Eyes of Tomorrow, Salvation's Grip, that's still useless. Deepstone Crypt, that's been, one that many of us have seen. And even Next Gen for Destiny 2 kicked off with that. Plus, we got a new Planet of Europa. That launched alongside Season of the Hunt, Crow and Spider story. We actually got to see, Crow was brought back to life. Then we got to see, the first teases of Osiris. What started there? Him and Spider. Ziva Wrath was now mentioned. We had the Cryptolith hunts, the Lure. Hawkmoon came back to the game in the Harbinger mission, and the Duality Exotic in the Season Pass. That launched just before 2020 ended, but kind of took us into what started 2021. Just for that piece alone, those two, how did 2021 with Destiny start for you guys? Getting through the holidays, the dawning was going on about a year ago like it was now. Were you guys, looking back that far, does it feel like more than a year, less than a year, like 12 years later?
Funny, yeah. Just listening to you go through each line item, it was kind of like, wow, that happened and that happened. I think for me, I remember the trepidation coming in with Stasis. Like, how is this gonna play? How is this gonna work? And us all talking about like freezing Guardians and in the Crucible. How's that gonna feel? Remember that? Like, that was the big thing. And I think we all unanimously felt that it's probably gonna have a problem in the Crucible. I think we all felt that. We all saw that one coming. That one was not a surprise. The Aramis campaign, the ending, and the non-ending. Well, we know it's still frozen, so it's still gonna come around stuff. But they did give a lot of content. They gave us a new subclass. The aspects I felt were cool. And when you list out the exotics, I thought No Time to Explain was strong, way stronger than I thought. Cloudstrike was really good, just way too hard to get. Eyes of Tomorrow, rest in peace, Trav. I know everything you've been through, the suffering, trying to get that one. I was crazy lucky to get that on the second thing. But to E's point, with the whole, Tassie's point, they introduced I think, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they introduce target farming with raids in Destiny 2 through Deepstone? I felt Deep Stone
What
debuted
the
that in Destiny 2.
final like interaction?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yep, they did.
So I thought that was huge for the raid community because that took us back to Wrath of the Machine, and I missed that, which is like, okay, I want the succession. And let's be honest, there's some good perks. There's some really good perks. The refilling of the ammo, the reconstruction, recombination stuff was cool. Deep Stone Crypt was super solid, y'all. Like I liked it a lot. I mean, the lullaby was the theme of the anthem for a minute. And yeah, like you said, next generation too. So look, solid. Not gonna go super crazy because Super Season of the Hunt was not it for me personally. I was not about none of that. I mean, I just liked the storyline, and we knew who Ziva Arath was, and what you call it, Crow comes back, and we go through that whole thing. But even the execution of that was whack at the end because, oh, we're freeing you, and then
he's still sitting there for the rest of the season. Yeah.
So that's my overall analysis. Solid. Not at the top level of a Forsaken or anything, but it was solid. It was overall, if you combine both of them, or if you look at Season of the Hunt by itself, no. But if you combine Beyond Light, it was okay. But I'm curious, what do you guys think, Trav? What do you think about just those sections, Beyond Light, Season of the
Hunt? Beyond Light was last year. Season of the Hunt was also last year.
Yeah, but it's like that's what still started the year.
Yeah.
It'll start. Season of the Hunt started this year, correct? Or
well, I mean, they launched at the same time.
It was still,
they launched at the same time. It was just right. January 1st, 2021. That's still what we were in the middle of. That's kind of why I started there.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first year that Destiny hasn't had an expansion since it started?
Correct.
Yep.
And that's if you don't include the 30th anniversary, which I bet you Bungie would. I bet you they would count that as an expansion.
System-wise, you have to buy it as an expansion. Like if you want to play the 30th anniversary on PC and Xbox, you got to buy it twice. But for everybody else, no, it's not. It's an add-on of cosmetics and a dungeon and an exotic, depending on what you break down, what you pay for. But still a lot of cool stuff in there. But yeah, no full-blown big story expansion for sure, which is weird.
Yeah. I'm kind of like Cog. I thought Season of the Hunt was kind of the weakest one. And by the time this year started, we had sort of run out of main content. And I believe Stasis was live and well, and Crucible just destroying things. And yeah, I think I even said on Fireteam Chat, I probably made myself look terrible. I said when we saw that first competitive clip and people were getting frozen and then killed, I was like, yeah, I mean, we're just seeing it in clips. I don't think that they'd let you like actually fully freeze somebody super easily and then just like ruin Crucible. That just feels like they wouldn't let that happen. And
surely they wouldn't do that.
And I was like, damn.
Yeah, we saw that.
Wow.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020 now.
Yeah.
We all predicted.
Yeah, I mean, everybody said that when they saw the clip, but I was just like, I have a little more faith in Bungie than that. And then,
well, and that was the thing is like we all saw it, and they even knew it. They knew because they had bumped it up so many times, and they're like, well, now we can't completely break it, but we do have to knock it down. But they said it came in like 5 steps too high. Like they even said that in interviews later in this year. So we know, when it came in, it was Crucible was hot. I still hate my Titan Stasis. Like I don't know if I'm ever going to love that subclass because
I have
just
to give
kind of its general functionality, because the Warlocks and the Hunters both have had some really cool stuff. And like Titans have had like bits and pieces, but the general functionality of the subclass, I never lean in it. I've done so many different things this year with regards to like guides and things. And the Titan is not, I mean, there's been Warlock builds for like Grandmasters and stuff. Hunters still go invis and still have, certain Titans just, nobody's ever been like, all right, now Glacial Quake. Yes, this is the thing you want. No one has said that all year since this thing launched, and it just hasn't changed. So, no, it's been Stasis is like, it's been a cool theoretical subclass for me, but I'm like, they better do better on the whatever comes next. Titans need to feel a little better next time, because this year I didn't honestly get all my aspects and fragments until this season.
Wow.
Because I never played the class, so like
actually, there's 2 more I think I haven't gotten that started during the 30th anniversary. Is that true? They added more.
I don't know if they added more or they did them during Season of Lost, and people, because I saw Tassie tweet about it. I went back to her and checked, and I don't have any more to get, but I also went through and got all of mine recently, so it could have been just a later edition.
I think I might have them all then, but I constantly forget to do that. That's such a big piece of the game that they kind of hide from you. Like you have to remember to go and like talk to the stranger, and it's just like, damn, I completely forgot to do that. a lot of seasons. Yeah, I'm probably fully caught up though if Season of the Lost was the last one, because I've been remembering lately. But yeah, I think before Season of the Hunt, it was kind of before Bungie's current like streak of really good storytelling started. It was kind of like right on the cusp there, right? We were starting to learn about the Crow, but that final cutscene in Season of the Hunt leaked, and I remember that. Everybody saw that video early, and so they were sort of like playing around with this live action storytelling. Hadn't done their first like real time event, like with the crash of whatever it was called,
the Almighty.
The
big
Almighty,
space station. The Almighty, yeah. Hadn't done that yet, and so I think we were still figuring out what the future of Destiny was going to look like with the new seasonal model and kind of that very slow pace of drip storytelling that now is sort of like very familiar to people who play Destiny. But yeah, I'm with Cog. I think it was kind of the beginning of this year was a little rough before we started getting decent seasons in.
Yeah, I would agree. I want to first of all, definitely agree. I usually give Titans a hard time, but I have to admit the Stasis, like Warlock's been balling on Stasis. Like Stasis with us and the Bleak turret and everything. Like we definitely are the beneficiary of Stasis, but Titans by far is
Hunters
the worst.
too. Like Shatterdive has literally
Shatterdive, good lord. Yeah.
Like Shatterdive is its own thing, the tornado that'll shut down like both of those, but it's just like the Titans never. Even the melee still feels bad to me to this day. It's just like one of those. Good. It's like you can train yourself to like let go early, but I'm like, why can't it work like the others? I'm just running and just like hit it to go connect. It's like just switch it. I've even heard other people say that, but no, I mean for me it was like the Aramis campaign, which is kind of interesting with her lieutenants. She actually you got a little more empathy for the Fallen, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah,
and that started some of the storytelling a little bit more than say like Shadowkeep, which was more grand gesture with like the pyramid ship and Eris and stuff and kind of getting to know her ghost. This was like actually getting to know a different race, getting to know an enemy a little bit more. Again, the short-lived enemy, which we're kind of still accustomed to, which we're hoping doesn't happen in the future, which will be kind of covered later. But I think nice surprise with Beyond Light for me was all the Elsie and Anna and Clovis Bray stuff.
I like Clovis a lot.
All of that stuff for me was really good. Somebody, I think New Rad mentioned in chat, like the lore behind Lament and Banshee 44 was so good to see those.
Loved it. Loved the Lament as an exotic as well. Let's be real. That was really cool.
Yeah. Like intrinsic barrier sword, kind of doing unique animations there. Yep. Yeah. So it was like that stuff was cool. Then you had Season of the Hunt, you had Cryptolith hunts, and you were done with those after you literally did one of them. You're like, oh crap, this is the like that's the thing, and we'll get to some of these as we talk about each of like the activities we go through. The Crow Spider story, as we said, was like, I understand you have to do certain things, but do what you got to do and move him, because like the Helm wasn't introduced till the next season, which is where he ended up. But him just hanging out there, and I'm like, put him anywhere. I don't care where. Put him anywhere else. Have him in a different part. I don't like that was kind of one of those things when it's just like really frustrating. And then one of our bigger debates in that same season, Hawkmoon.
Oh yeah, we fought hard about that one.
We fought
was
really
this pre-Travis?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Travis.
It's pre me, but I remember your guys' debate. I think you're on the side of Ebontis. It's not really Hawkmoon.
Yeah. That was a fun one. That was a fun one. Yeah.
I saw you get roasted by that guest you had. I remember that.
It's probably. I think it was Tony. I think it was Tony. It was Ill Physics. I don't know if he was the one. Oh no, that was Ascend Nomad. Yeah.
Nomad. He roasted you for insisting that it wasn't Hawkmoon. He was like, it literally is, but like, okay, bro. That was funny.
That was a fun debate. I mean, look, it came back that I thought Cloud Strike was really underrated. I like Cloud Strike.
I mean, go ask Cool Guy. He has had more montage clips with that guy, and every soft on Twitter, he's just like, yep, still love this night. Because I mean, just massive kills if you can time that thing correctly. And it's just, if you're good with a sniper, it is a beast in PvP if you can use it.
And I love the PvE. I love exotics because usually there's a lot of crowd control exotics, what that's all it's for. But I love when there's dual purpose. Like, for example, like an Outbreak Perfected, where it's like if you do enough DPS against a boss, you still get concentrated extra effort. I think Thunder, what's the exotic machine gun that nobody, Thunderlord. Like, they had a perk where they added where, again, if you do continuous DPS against a boss, besides the ad clearing stuff, you'll get extra damage. And I love that little smoke that Cloud Strike used to do that gets more DPS towards the boss. And we use that. Shout out to Back for Daddies in there. It was a mainstay for a little bit versus Tanics in Deep Stone. Like, if you didn't have the right loadouts,
that and,
if you didn't have double
Divinity?
Yeah, if you didn't have Divinity or if you didn't have double precision shotties, they were like, yo, if you got Cloud Strike, you all right, kind of thing. So I like exotics like that. And I thought that, and generally I'm not a sniper exotic guy. That, for whatever reason, that one I was always did well with. I like that one. But we gotta get them for Salvation's Grip though.
I was literally gonna get there. I was like, Salvation's Grip is literally just a quest item. That is all it is.
That's all it is. Just to advance a story. Like, there's no function. It is literally the worst exotic. Like, I
easily
can't find any use for that thing. Like,
no, I could use the Colony, the Prospector. I could still use those before I'd use Salvation's Grip.
Yeah, that desperately
in PvE on those.
Buff. Yeah, shout out. DJ Oros in the building. Salute. What's going on? But yeah, like, they need to do something with Salvation's Grip, Trav. Like, something.
I mean, I'm hoping it gets like one of those like reworks or something, because now they're slowly introducing stasis weapons. And this season, we're seeing them more, and then we got a couple more with like Ias Luna. We're seeing a few more come in with, now you got cold perks on the sword. But yeah, its functionality needs to change. It just doesn't do squat. So no,
if it freezes people for 30 seconds in Crucible, I think it'll start being a part of the meta.
That would be painful. Yeah,
that would be painful. But it'll get a lot of uptick in usage.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, absolutely.
But we also got
everybody switches over to Salvation's Group.
We also got the Harbinger mission to get Hawkmoon.
Ooh.
So that was kind of, then you had the like people trying to break through the walls of the little fireplace in the Cosmodrome, and then figure that one out and be like, okay, you start in the Cosmodrome, you go through like 2 areas, and you're just staring at a dam. You're like, where do I go? That was my first experience. I'm like, jump on this little branch and go land on the edge of the dam, and how you kill the things. That final boss room to this day still hurts if you are solo. With a group, it's manageable, but if you are solo, and depending on what week it's on, just the modifiers and the way the ads are, that thing it was a challenge solo. I did it like once on each week, but man, one of those weeks I cannot remember what the setup is. Sucks so bad.
Yeah, that's brutal, because it was so shield kind of game dependent, and the room was just so, if you didn't have the right setup, you get tortured in there. I remember that. But it was a cool quest. We got more lore on your boy at the time. It was cool for what it was.
Yeah, like it was cool to see it. And you had the feathers and a little bit with Crow going back in his little like apartment up in the rafters up in there and stuff like that, with like the blanket and everything. So it was kind of cool. It was also first introduction to random rolled exotics.
Yes.
So again,
good point. Forgot about that.
Coming back to our exotic of Hawkmoon, when it's not really Hawkmoon, and now it's a randomly rolled Hawkmoon.
Here we go.
Just saying.
Here we go.
Anyway, but like,
so is a weapon not the right weapon if it's randomly rolled?
I mean, it was the first one that ever did that. That's all.
Yeah, it set the trend. Right?
Yep. Is there a correct version of what's this? What's the scout rifle?
The
Dead Man's
Tail?
Sniper rifle.
Dead Man's Tail. Yep.
Yeah, I still don't have
I'm actually kind of disappointed they stopped doing Bungie curated rolls. I thought that was cool.
Oh yeah,
I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Not in Deep Stone Grip.
It was almost like Last Wish, where like Last Wish, you drop the curated masterwork.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Good point, Trav. I forgot all about those. Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, I remember you get excited if you had that roll in a raid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of Dead Man's Tale, the next season that came across was Season of the Chosen, and this is where the Caiatl story and Zavala basically just talking straight up to the Empress per se. So that was an entertaining meme moment, along with some great memes from Lance Riddick. Those were hilarious.
Yes.
Battlegrounds were introduced and progressed as we went through the season. Got a few of them unlocked as we went. The Helm was introduced along with the Umbrals and the War Table, which really allowed them to tell stories in a different way. I think it opened up their abilities to put multiple characters in places, come through in projections, and it really started to get them on this path of telling stories in the season on a weekly basis, which will kind of save the idea of how the stories are told. I have a couple things to kind of touch on in the end. The Proving Ground strike. We actually did get our first new strike in a while.
Oh yeah.
Also bringing back Devil's
year.
Lair and Fallen Saber. So we got one new strike plus two old ones for a mix.
Right.
Ticuu's Divination. That was your seasonal exotic. Again, if you got to bring a exotic bow in, was it fun? And it ended up being actually pretty solid. And then Presage.
Nobody uses it though.
Presage was just ultra unique.
Great.
I mean, that was like Aliens and like the Aliens movie just put into Destiny in such a cool way. The environments, the sounds, a little bit of puzzling to it. The way the fight was set up, overall, very, very cool mission. Lots of fun to do. If you haven't done it yet, please make sure you do that before it leaves in February. But yeah, we're for Season of the Chosen. That's the first one that really got a little chance to stand on its own after Stasis and everything is settled. We get Caiatl, we get Battlegrounds. What did this start doing for you guys to move this year forward? Travis?
Hell yeah. I think that's where it really started kicking off for me, because I think that was the first seasonal event where I felt like the matchmade activity was actually good. You know, like I've really not liked any of the matchmade activities, including Menagerie, really. I mean, it was good a few times, but it gets boring pretty quick. But Battlegrounds, or the Battlegrounds, was awesome because the enemy density was unlike anything we'd ever seen before, and there's just so many enemies coming at you, and there's just like lots of combat and cool stuff. Yeah, you can't play them forever, but they were at least like, they were a lot more tolerable to grind than I think any of the other seasonal activities before then, and they weren't a public event, thank God. Yeah, I really liked that activity, and think the story had everybody talking. Like every week, people were like, "Are we really gonna lie with Caiatl? Like, what the heck's going on?" And there's that epic moment with the Crow and Zavala at the end, and I have a lot of really good memories story wise of that season and of just doing the combat. And thank God we got a new strike. That was our first new strike since Forsaken.
Jesus.
No, it would have been Shadowkeep. We got one. We got Harp.
That's right. I forgot about that
Ash
one.
Ladoon, the Scarlet Keep. Yeah, but that was like literally one strike since Forsaken in that long. I mean, we didn't get a strike with Beyond Light. Did we?
Yeah, it was a running joke.
No, we got one. We got what is the one with the two?
Oh yeah, the ruffle with Homegirl. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got one there as well. But again, it'd been like, we're going like expansions in one strike. Like, seemed pretty sparse. So to get one in like the next season was actually a big surprise. Plus 2 extras from D1, which new to some, but you know, old hat to others. Fallen Saber's Fallen Sable.
Not a main expansion either, which I don't think we'd ever really seen. The side ones where we were getting a lot of new strikes, except for, I think they did that in D1. But yeah, that was huge. I have really fond memories. I think that's one of my favorite seasons looking back at it. That wasn't the season with the Almighty, was it? No, it wasn't.
No, Almighty was Season of the Worthy, right?
I think so, yeah.
It must have been right before the Hunt, right?
Arrivals was after Worthy.
Yeah, it was right before Beyond Light came out. Yeah. It's like pretty close to when Beyond Light came out. I really like that season. I have no complaints. Also, I remember there being a lot of good weapons to farm.
Yeah, the chosen weapons. You had the SMG. Frenzy was introduced. I think
Frenzy debuted.
Yep.
Yeah, the SMG was crazy. Cold Duello, the rocket launchers really got the rise. The rocket launcher rose in that one.
Yep.
They keep getting rises. Not the meta. But
I know. You got that. Yeah, I'm with Trav, man. Season of the Chosen, super strong for me. Everything Trav said. The reason why I liked it was because it was the first time enemy density was so much that you had to watch front and back. And you were like, yo, what is going on? And remember that stupid sound? It'd be like, it sounded like a bird call every time you're in there. You'd be like, oh, when you're in there, more Cabal drop down and more Cabal drop down. I'm like, what is going on? It was crazy. I love that one. Ticuu's Divination is one of my favorite exotics they've ever done. I don't like bows. I'll be honest. I've never even. I mean,
I
listen,
crouch on
Monarch.
those so hard.
I didn't learn about
Really?
how efficient bows were until the game forced me to do it for the catalyst or
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm like, yo, this is really good. Like, then it was almost like a what's that thing, like you light someone on fire and then you set them and then you blow
prime
up
them and you blow them up, basically.
prime them and blow them up. And it was just like, it was such a cool mechanic. And I remember loving that. The reason why Season of the Chosen hits hard for me was they really dug deep on narrative voice acting. I remember doing strikes and hearing Saladin and him complain, and you would get characters you would never. My major beef with Destiny was NPCs would not interact prior to that.
Yep.
There'd be all this stuff going on in the world, and no one's really talking with each other outside whoever the main story was focused on. But with Battlegrounds, you get Amanda to chime in a mission or two. You get, the Crow to chime in. You get Crow to kind of check Saladin on funny things. Osiris would come in and he would talk. And so you get these differing perspectives. And I love that because I'm like, okay, this one don't like this one, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. And I thought narratively they really started to take off. Caiatl was a good introduction. We that's what I think we're going to say, E. We kind of started the whole potential allies of former enemies.
Absolutely.
Like that kind of thing kicked off. We got the 2 strikes. We finally got a damn strike, whatever. The helm, I thought the helm was solid. I think the helm was the debut of how they're going to kick off really better storytelling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's once the helm debuted, and it was like almost felt like an Avengers, thing. You come to the board. This is the Avengers board table. What's going on this week? And yeah, Presage, I think of you, E. Like, that was amazing. That was, wow. They really, it was horror. At the time, we didn't know he was Osiris. We still thought it was Osiris, but we saw the whole, Caiatl's interaction. And yeah, great. I thought it was a solid season. I mean, my only complaint, if I had to nitpick, would just be, the typical Bungie gap between when you're going to finally get the moment with Zavala and Crow and the ambush. Remember what you call it, the ambush? They tried to get Zavala out of there.
Ambush, yep.
Yeah, that's my only beef with it. Because, the typical, like, all right, come on. We want to know. And it's like, wait. the major E complaint that I know E's going to go to.
Yeah, we'll get to that at the end. But yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I rambled. What about you? Like, was Season of the Chosen as high as it was for both of us, for being sure?
I mean, yeah, it really turned the ship with regards to them telling a story in the game. Whether you like the weekly bit or not, some people like the binge, some people like the weekly episodes. It got to a point where we did have just enough to discuss. Now, it could still be just a Tuesday login, but it was actually synced enough and you could catch up later. I think they put the catch up later. I don't know if it was that season or the next. But either way, they made it to where you could experience that story, even if you're like, hey, I can only play 1 day a week. You could still be part of that story and that experience that Caiatl and Zavala and all of that stuff going on, seeing the Zavala and Crow moment for half a second, which was cool. Like that redemption arc a little bit there with what he did to help save Zavala. And then, as you said, like you guys have said most of it, we actually got new strikes, multiple. We were in desperate need for some of those. And between the Battlegrounds and the helm, I mean, you kind of mentioned something I kind of forgot, and it was the helm helped with the war table, tell the story with the holograms and people walking in and standing there listening to everything. But the voiceover you got made the Battlegrounds feel, after a while you may have heard them all, but there was enough between different weeks and seeing different things and the progression and who's talking to who. Crow's checking Saladin's talking to Osiris, like so many different pieces on the board, and it made the world feel more alive overall.
Yes.
And that was really nice because we've had all these NPCs and they mostly just sit on the side while we go do our god killing thing as guardians, and it hasn't been a whole lot else. And now it feels like a more robust world with NPCs that we actually talk to.
Yes, so, that was my major beef prior to that. Yeah,
those were big. And then for me, it's like the missions are special. Presage, for example, they're always going to be cool for me, like Harbinger was, but Presage was something on another level. Just the tone that it set, the different steps that you had to go through. And just overall, I mean, you had the Star Wars moment in there. You had the trash compactor moment
Oh yeah,
shoved
yeah.
into a
I forgot about
quest
that.
when it felt like aliens and like the sound. If you're playing with headphones, it feels like the things like everywhere around you. You start in the outside, you don't even know how to get into this thing. Your ship's just like the scale of what it did to put you in the middle of space on this alien ship, and now you got to go inside and figure out what the hell happened. And then you get this scout rifle that breaks the game for about 6 months until they finally nerf it down because it's a scout rifle that fires like Last Word, and people are like, I don't need Last Word. I have a
Yeah.
scout rifle that does it even better.
Shout out to Tex Mechanica. Them weapons be looking sleek too. Them Tex Mechanica joints, woo, they looking clean. Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, overall, I would say my biggest thing, which is something they're learning a little, but it's still, and we'll kind of touch on this a little bit. It's the upgrading of the seasonal interaction device. The servitor, upgrading the war table, upgrading the gauntlet, that painful, like, here's this thing. And that almost got worse as we went, and we'll talk about that. But it was just the war table of, your progression of just as you went through certain unlocks.
Yeah.
And they gave more functionality to it in Splicer, which we'll get to, but in Season of Lost, they almost took a step back from me on some of that. So
I want to give them a little credit. Even though it wasn't done all the way well, they tried to play with tier 3 focus engrams with the either the extra perk in the tier 3 thing and some slight target farming where it'd be like you could get either the rocket or this with a third with an extra
started
perk.
That with the Umbrals. That's true.
The costs were like very high. Like it was like ridiculous high to do it, kind of thing. But at least they attempted, I believe, in Season of the Chosen. And,
because that's where Umbrals were introduced. So it's like it's the Umbrals and the Prismatic Decoder or Recaster. All that stuff kind of came around, and then I think the focus has started there. So we got to see unlocking a little bit more targeting, levels of targeting, and that type of stuff. I think that did start there. So it was the first step, and then it's kind of we've had some progression from there into the next piece is Season of the Splicer. So Season of the Splicer or Season of the Grenade Launcher, depending on what you had in your inventory and mods equipped. We had the Endless Night take over the tower, so we have this whole Vex problem going on. Then we pair up, now this time, another ally. We have the Fallen, and they're the House of, what were they? The House of Light? What is their house?
Yeah, was it the House of Light?
House of Light. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you have the Mithrax Saint 14 story, which we'll break into that here in a second. I'll let you have that one, Cog. The Helm, we had the Servitor sitting in the Helm. We had Fallen in the city. We had Fallen in their own little part of Scourge of the Past. Activities-wise, we got Override and Expunge. We had the 3 normal, then the 3 corrupted, then the finale. Armor Synthesis was introduced, which nearly broke our friend here, Travis.
That's Travis's greatest rant of all time. This goat rant.
And then Cog nearly lost his mind. Vault of Glass came back a couple weeks after the season started. Vex Mythoclast came. So Cog, Season of the Splicer, man. Where were you at on this one? What did it do?
Completely biased with Season of the Splicer. Like I'm clear. Like let me just disclaimer myself. This is the season for me. Like this was Vault came back, so automatically this already gets a curve for Cog, right? I get that. I wanted to see how they would do it. Very pleased with Vex Mythoclast. I was very pleased because that was one of my major.
Well, didn't it start kind of stinky?
Right, you're right. It did start. Yeah, they had to buff it. No, you're right. You're right. Take it back. It didn't debut well. They nerfed it, and then but when they did buff it in the same season, though, I think it was a quick turnaround, right? I'm gonna say it was a quick turnaround. I don't remember waiting that long for that buff.
I feel like it was long. I feel like it was long enough.
Was it in the same season that it got buffed? Though?
I don't think so.
I think
it definitely was because
I think it got buffed more recently, or Season of the Lost, maybe.
Yeah, Trav.
No, it got debuffed in Season of the Lost. The Vex Myth.
I can't remember. Yeah, I just remember.
Because I got it the first week, and I just remember it being absolutely sloppy in
the beginning
in Trials and Crucible. Yeah, it was just disgusting. So
when did it get buffed? How about you research when it got buffed? When did the buff actually happen?
Somebody in chat will
probably
know.
Debuffed.
Well, like recently, the aim assist got taken down for PvP.
Recently, but
But
there was
yeah,
a
it did get
prior,
buffed
yeah.
up to where it was like,
It
oh,
was
now
God tier.
it's yeah,
It was
God
God.
tier.
Whatever that buff was, it was super God tier. But anyway, back on track with actual the season. Yeah, it was good storytelling. Mithrax, I'll be honest, I didn't at first like Mithrax the way I like Caiatl. I was like, okay, we'll see what you're about. Okay. I was all about Fate 14's portrayal.
Yeah.
Like the way he was portrayed, because we think of him as this lovable guy and he's everyone's favorite. He's probably arguably one of my favorite Titans besides Shax. And to see the monster thing.
Yep.
To see Mithrax tell the story, oh, you think that you're the hero? Like, you are feared here. You've killed children. You've murdered. Like, you are a threat to every fallen who sees you. That's not how you're perceived, bro. And it was kind of like he had to go walk off. Remember Saint walked off and checked himself like, yo, like, that's crazy how my actions are perceived. Again, we got that. Now, the reason why this season was for me is because this was when Lakshmi was making the town great again. She was all fallen racist propaganda. You know what I'm saying? Like she was, I loved the actress who played her. She's like, you can't trust them. Then she planted the seeds. She had beef with Ikora. Remember, she was just like, look, they doing the Vanguard, doing things behind our back. And then Trav,
like Ikora calls her out type.
Now, Override wasn't that great. I ain't gonna lie. Override wasn't that great, but Trav, the best override mission was the last one when we started it and you see Lakshmi on the ground. Everybody was like teabagging and taking pictures of Lakshmi dead. And then let's be up. The grand finale, Osiris reveals himself. Because it not reveals himself totally, but looks over.
Yeah.
And that's the first time everybody's like, nah, fam.
That ain't right.
That ain't right. Something's going on with this dude. Because he's looking over the battlefield and then angrily walks away. And then everyone's like, Satan's like, make it right. Just tell everybody what happened. Why did you disappear? What's going on? And that's when we really started to see this, plant the seeds of him being evil. Last thing I'll say, I did like, I don't know if me and you talk about this. I did like Expunge missions. I don't know what it was about them. Whether it's the Techie, the Tron, I like that Savathun or whoever was talking to us in code. It added a nice little eeriness to the mission. I like that they rewarded you for completing the Expunge missions in very quick times. The weapons were good. Ignition code, the auto rifle, chroma rush.
Chroma rush, yep.
And I like that season.
Yeah, pulse rifle's good too.
Yeah, the pulse rifle was good. Yeah, the target farming. I really like Season of the Splice. It has some couple of little negatives here and there, but I overall liked it. And to Travis's point, yeah, Vex did start off. And, Cryesthesia was kind of trash at first when it first dropped.
Just got better.
It just got good. Yeah, it just got good. Yeah, but that's what I got. I mean, Trav, where do you stand with Season of the Splicer?
Yeah, Season of the Splicer is definitely my least favorite of like the most recent ones. Both because of armor synthesis and all of the crap there. But also I think they started vaulting that season. I think maybe that was Season of the Hunt, but that was like a lot of vaulting they did around that time. The Cosmodrome, I remember, got added and we thought maybe they'd use it more in later seasons after Beyond Light, and they just didn't.
That came with Chosen.
I think it got added with Beyond Light. Was it Chosen?
Chosen because
might have been.
No, what was it? Beyond Light started. Cosmodrome was there as like just the intro mission, and I think they fleshed out Cosmodrome when they added the strikes. I think that's how that went. So it was full before Splicer.
So there was that. I don't like Expunge or the 6-player matchmaking event. I just thought it was super repetitive, and I didn't want to spend a lot of time of it. The upgrading of your artifact or the activity, you had to upgrade the path of the activity that I thought was super grindy. I also don't really care about the story that much. Like, I get why we had to ally with the Fallen, but Mithrax was kind of out of nowhere in my opinion. Like, it's not like they were a leader. It was just kind of a random group of Fallen, and it's a guy that we killed before in Destiny 1.
Some killed, some live, but yeah.
Good decision.
Yeah, with your decision depending, right? You can kill him. I think I killed him.
You killed him.
Anyway, and then, it was just sort of like, Vault of Glass coming back. I love Vault of Glass, but I really am not a fan of like people using the old stuff that used to be good and remastering it and giving it back to us and all that stuff. I'm glad I got Vex Mythoclast. Thank you so much, because I had just gotten done getting destroyed by Eyes of Tomorrow in the Deepstone Crypt, so I was happy for that. But yeah, the storyline was a little sloppy for me. I really liked the Lakshmi plot, but I feel like it ended really poorly, just like her dying off screen, and then Hideo and
that was whack. Yeah, the Hideo and
leaving out of nowhere,
just to kill
and
faction rally.
Yep.
Yeah, the explanation there, we've got to get rid of all of our factions.
Yeah, that was whack.
And then also the villain was basically no one. Like, remember that final boss fight was like the big Vex that obviously was part of
the Warmind.
Coria, the Warmind, which was obviously part of the Witch Queen's plan, Savathun's plan. But I felt like we were chasing a phantom the whole time, and the answer was super underwhelming. It's like, oh, is this random Vex person? But definitely like the Witch Queen is behind it, and it's like, okay, cool, but like, when are we going to get to that part? So yeah, I definitely I remember playing a lot less than I normally do that season, and not being super ever. Also, people were all about the Smallin, and I hate babies.
Why you hate the Smallin?
I don't like baby anything.
Oh
so I don't like baby humans. I'm not gonna like babies.
Do you hate puppies?
You like puppies?
You like puppies?
Do you like
I do. I do hate puppies.
Oh,
I don't like animals. I don't like animals, and I especially don't like underdeveloped
some warmness in your heart, bro. You got too much coldness in your heart, bro.
Yeah, I don't know about too much. I think it's the right amount. I think it keeps me sane.
Jesus.
But yeah. So there's that too. Just really nothing for me in the season, I guess, is my point. Really nothing for me at all. It's a different target audience.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Not all seasons for everybody.
Also, I need to say this one more time before we end this segment.
Yes.
Armor synthesis.
Yeah, wait, sure. Yeah, I'm curious about your assessment of
No, I mean,
Splicer.
I would say I would lean closer to you on Splicer for sure. Endless Night, getting Mithrax is cool. Like this is where they're leaning more into like the animated storyboards, as you said. Like Saint as a monster, that was top tier. Like, I mean, seeing the way that was portrayed, seeing just that perspective shift, and watching somebody like Saint who Trials commentary and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden you see him just hang his head after he's told of how he's portrayed.
Yeah,
really cool. Seeing like Ikora just want to light up Lakshmi.
It was
and that's why I was like, they're leaning more and more into these like voiceover pieces and like those interactions at like just the intercom or the voicemails that we had. Those were some of the best pieces, depending on who it like. Lakshmi's just like trying to spread her propaganda and all this stuff. And then Ikora comes in, you stop that wanted to just shut her down and would like Nova bomb her if she politically could without being like just ticking everybody off. So it was like, I enjoyed those pieces of it. I think, as Travis said, like Quaria, who is this like, taking Vex's mind of crazy. And I was like, as you, for like Override, fine. Like you do so many, you were just like pulling your head. It's just like, any of that repetitive stuff, like fine. But Expunge, I'm with you. I did enjoy it because you had the normal ones first. And then you had the corrupted versions, which had a little bit of a shift to them. And then you had the finale, which was kind of a cool combination of all three. I just enjoyed those as like, they're little single player runoffs for me. So anything that's solo for me, I'm going to enjoy probably a little bit more.
Be proud. I did those all solo myself.
Hey,
I rarely do those solo.
There we go.
Rarely do anything solo. Continue.
Yeah. Cryosthesia was garbage. When it came out, and Vex was a little bit doo-doo. But that did get corrected later. Vault came out and was loved by a lot of people. We had the normal, and then you had the hard mode version.
And we didn't even mention Fatebringer, y'all.
Fatebringer came back.
Fatebringer, come on.
Oh, God. It can be not mentioned.
And that's kind of one of those where it's
it could be not mentioned.
It's an old gun.
So it don't count.
I feel like people need to stop praising Bungie for bringing back old shit.
No, I agree.
You decided to abandon it with Destiny 1. Like, don't expect a praise from us just because you changed your mind.
I agree. I'm with Tassie on this. Tassie made a good point. I think you are right for saying we shouldn't overpraise them for bringing back old stuff. But I do agree with Tassie in the sense that I don't think we give them enough credit. Like, I think what's happened is the narrative is now flipped, like that season or these seasons when they bring back old stuff, that's all they did, right? But the reality is, if you look at everything, they've brought out way more new stuff and a whole new line of weapons, even the season of the Splicer weapons, the new exotics. We talked about the Expunge mission and Cryesthesia and Dead Man's Tale. There's way more new weapons that they've added, and the old stuff is a supplement. And I think sometimes we get caught and roll our eyes because we see old stuff and think that's the majority of what they did. That's all I wanted to say. But I'm sorry.
No, it's fair. And that honestly like takes me back to one thing that people are probably screaming if you're listening to this later on. You're like, are you ever going to say it? Sunsetting. Smooth forgot that with Beyond Light, and then the step back with Chosen.
When did it
Beyond Light is when Sunset, season 8 and backwards, gone.
Yeah.
That was, and then it was season of the Chosen. When that started, they're like, anything that's playable here will be playable from here forward. So it was like season 8 and 9, season 8 backwards, and then you lost season 9. So it was like 10 forward you got to keep. And that was, and again, that's the thing, is exactly what you were saying. It's kind of makes sense. Vault's still full, always full. But that makes sense, as you said. They keep, if they would have started now with like bringing back Vault, bringing back more weapons, and then reissuing some other ones, the reissue is somehow like where they're like kind of cheating, as Travis is saying. They're cheating to be like, hey, here's new weapons that you had 2 years ago with some different perks. And it's like they're kind of playing the back and forth on that stuff. So it's like, but sunsetting was this massive decision, which got reverted 3 months later. And pretty much I feel like they just wanted to get rid of Recluse and Mountaintop and, you know, basically just the Pinnacle weapons. And unfortunately, we paid a lot for it. And then now they're slowly trying to build back up our arsenal of weapons. There's not a solar bow that's legendary.
Yeah.
Unless you have the one from Last Wish, which I do, but I'm sitting there going through a guide. I'm like, oh, you want a solar bow? Okay, you have Ticuus. That is it. Unless you go do Last Wish and you get lucky for a drop. And how many people go run Last Wish? Like, that's the type of thing. If you have an archetype in a slot and you're going to tell me you have to use bows for overload, you don't have a lot of options. Like, you need to start filling these things out.
And that's where the sunsetting, it backfired, because they took away so much. They took away so much that we ended up losing archetypes that were necessary to pair with the artifact when it come to whether it be anti-barrier, overload, because there just wasn't enough in a certain category. Like, it really bad. They didn't produce enough to even justify sunsetting. In theory, it would have been nice, but yeah, the execution was horrible. I completely agree with you guys there.
But yeah, I mean, it's like Vault was cool. It was cool to go back, but I mean, that was the one raid I've played the most outside of probably King's Fall. So going back in there was like, it had a few twists, but it was like, it felt like Vault. So it was nice to have it back for the people who hadn't played it. But it was like, for me, it was not fresh. It was like, it was cool to go back in and play in Destiny 2, and it was cool to see on PC. I mean, when I got my new monitor, it looks gorgeous in there, but it was like, the mechanics it was still Vault, which is what they wanted to do, that with just a few twists, with like, here's a couple champions I got to take care of. The Wyvern were a little bit new in a few places, but overall mostly the same. I don't know, it's like after you get the cool moment like Deepstone Crypt Spacewalk, Vault of Glass was never going to come to that level of like a cool moment, because we'd had those cool moments. They were just years before. But yeah, I mean, the loot was good. We got time lost weapons, so we got kind of our first adept like adept PvE stuff. I think that's where those started. I don't know if that started with, I don't know which season the GM started to do adepts. I'd have to go back and look. But those were more outside of GMs, I guess, is where you started to get those time lost adept weapons who could take those mods. Overall, I mean, as a package with Override did wear itself out, and I'm with Travis. Those grinds on those
Override
things
was bad.
I mean, the grinds on Astral is probably the worst, because it just smacks you in the face with the, like, this come back next week. Like, it literally says it on screen, and I feel like that hurt me more. We'll get to that. Override was still just so grindy, and it's like, you have to go into there to get the currency for...
You could AFK in Override.
Oh, yeah, you absolutely could. Yeah, 100%.
Complete
a lot.
Sorry, you could do.
No, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing. You had the upgrade paths are so time gated heavy in this moment and then in start of Lost. That's one of those things when we get to like hopes for the future. That's kind of one of those that I hope they learn. And again, it's that 6 months cadence that I do hope that's some of the changes that we start to see. It's like they were just mid sequence on that one. But overall, I mean, the story was cool. Saint 14, Lakshmi, Aurea was a bit of a letdown, unfortunately, but the Helm we still had talking to, and again, you had those interactions with you and Mithrax and Saint talking over here, and then Ikora wanting to just light up. There were very cool moments. Expunges were fun. Vault was a cool addition to get just any raid that close. So overall, I would say for like that expansion, cool season, big season, Splicer I think lived up to it pretty well.
I did want to backtrack with both of y'all on each season. I wanted to recall what was the, like, for example, like right now we have particle deconstruction as the default meta thing.
Breach and Clear was Splicer.
That's right. So that was Splicer. Breach and Clear was Splicer. What was chosen?
I don't know. See, I was trying to think back too. I don't remember what was like the major
what was the
weapon archetype
meta
weapon
thing. Yeah,
I don't remember. I feel like it was more things like do damage with Void before they started leaning heavy into the. I feel like that's what it was, and then like grenade launchers all of a sudden became like
but
salvagers. Any grenade launcher all of a sudden became amazing.
When did Breaching
Clear was Splicer?
Right. So what I remember would be. If unless I'm forgetting another thing that was similar to Breach and Clear, I remember Breach and Clear. That was my first time. Like, yo, what is this?
Oppressive Darkness. That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah,
Oppressive Darkness, right? But that Oppressive Darkness was kind of like it was around for a while, from my understanding, right?
It's come and gone. I think we've had it twice.
It's like it's come and gone in and out.
Yeah,
Breach and Clear. My point is, Breach and Clear to me represented the first time Bungie tried to influence a meta.
Oh, and hardcore, and they did.
Grenade launchers were like, you had to use this if you're going to face Atheon. You had to use this. And that was the first time you'd get the visual, the boss would glow, saying that you've triggered and initiated this thing. And now we could do crazy damage. And I don't know how I feel all the way about it. Some metas, I did like it. But I feel this is them debuting and really influencing, you got to have this. You got to have this thing kind of thing. And we'll go on with the next. I just wanted to mention that because I remember that was a big thing. I didn't even know what Breach and Clear. And everybody at the time was like, yo, we got to have that. We need you to get this for 80. I had to redo my artifact just to get, because I had underestimated. I didn't know what it was kind of thing.
And that leans into where we are now, at least season-wise, in Season of the Lost. So we got Marasov, Crow, and Savathun, at least in crystal form. All of that story going on a weekly basis. Crow trying to figure out what happened in his past. Basically coming face to face with Petra. Marasov, obviously us going through all of those pieces. We had Astral Alignment. That was your 6th player with a couple different varieties for a match made, kind of making use of the blind well. So you can see them building some spaces, but also using already, previously used in-game assets for boss fights. But we did have Shattered Realm, which I think a lot of us thoroughly enjoyed. Multiple facets of what that had to offer, the changes over a weekly basis to Metroidvania style pieces. Crossplay actually became big in this season. Crossplay between all consoles, basically being a giant platform. PvE was next to everybody. PvP is consoles, and then PC are pretty much your only two separations. That was a big addition. Also with that, this season we've had trials, labs, multiple pieces. We've had solo trials with a freelance playlist. We've had trials capture point. They've actually experimented, and this is probably the first time we've had the most discussion over Crucible in a long
season
time.
Lost.
But we've had, we got a dissertation on Crucible, so we got to get some idea what's coming. And then we also got Agar Scepter. So that was a big thing for Stasis. And also we got the Lawrence Driver. And that kind of pairs into, as you said,
weapons.
Yep, Stasis weapons actually with
these
mostly unfortunate. We learned that those are right now, at least mostly Stasis. Agar Scepter is different as an exotic.
But legendary Stasis weapons.
Legendary Stasis weapons. Got a little bit of a tease with the Headstone perk, but overall not like weapons that do freezing damage in general, unless we're talking about something like Agar Scepter. But it was the season. I mean, this right now is the season of the fusion, whether it be linear or not. This is the season because particle deconstruction. So again, we had one of those perks that truly took the meta and was like, this is what you should probably play with. If you've got any type of them, it is advantageous to do so. So who took the last one? Travis.
I took the last one. So no, I took it. So
yeah.
Travis is up.
Yep. Where are you at on
I think I've said
Lost?
before. Yeah, I think I've said before, but I think Season of Lost is one of the better seasons. Obviously, it's gone on like way longer than any of us would have liked because of the delay, and the 30th anniversary has sort of revitalized that, which I think we'll probably talk about separately. But Season of Lost is really strong because we finally got introduced to our enemy in person. We got a reveal right off the bat. I still don't like any matchmade activities for the seasons that I have to do them a million times. But I do like the Shattered Realms. The Shattered Realms was like by far one of my favorite event activities, and doing that alone and just sort of like exploring the area and finding all that stuff has been super cool. And then obviously there was the abrupt stop, which I'm not a fan of. And then the wait, and us not really hearing from Savathûn or having any sort of, I feel like kind of they've lost the momentum. Like there's so much here Savathûn that now by February we're going to have forgotten was even a thing, and I think that's unfortunate. Hopefully they'll do something to kickstart that again, but it almost feels like the events that happened with Savathûn should have happened
all together, like
beginning of February. Should have gotten it.
That's going to be one of my overarching discussions. We'll get there. Stop that. You know I'm right. Anyway, Travis, continue.
Yeah, but yeah, I actually don't mind the rollout. I think I'll probably be on the opposite side of that debate, just because I like Ebontis's. We should get it all at once. I don't know if I agree.
No, I'm not saying I'm not on the all.
Because I'm selfish.
Okay, not the all at once. All I've said is like I want if episode 7 is week 7, episode 8 is the season finale. Shouldn't be week 37. It should be week 8. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
I feel it.
That's a different argument. I thought you were going to say we should get like the whole story.
The weekly the drip has actually grown on me. The way they've actually done it. No, it's like I've said this slowly throughout the years that the drip has slowly grown, but again, the ending kills me. Of each of these seasons, we get this epilogue, 5 weeks, and now like the 6 months. Like, we already knew. We got the trailer for Witch Queen. Why do you feel like you have to wait for this reveal of the Chrysalis? It should have been on week 9, whenever the season was done, and then you're gonna have some time. It's like they're not getting any benefit with the delay. As Travis said, the momentum's out of the train. Yeah. So when it finally comes back, it's just gonna be weird. Anyway,
like, oh yeah.
Sorry, Travis. I think I stole your.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that. You clarified your opinion, because I think one of the things that's been great about Destiny this year is because we haven't had any major expansions. I haven't felt like I've had to rush to play things. I'm able to play, log on for the week when it comes out, play a little bit of the story, but never feel like I just hate Destiny and don't want to have to play it anymore, which I felt before in the past when they give us, so much content that we have to log on every day for like 2 months to get through it. And there's like a lot of pressure to stay relevant and like stay up with the meta and keep your power higher. But I think you're right. Like the way that the timing is the worst part. Like they just do these seasons and then you have to wait forever to get to the ending. And I honestly think they're going to need to recap by the time we finish the 7th story, because I really don't remember it. I don't remember what happened on the 8th or 9th week or whatever the hell it was to get to the end there. So I feel like they do need a recap. Yeah, and also right now we're all doing like 30th anniversary stuff, which feels so frivolous and detached, and then the Halloween event and the Christmas event, and now it's just like our Guardians are having fun and like are so detached from like the doom that was hanging over us during the season of the Lost. It's just kind of ridiculous. It's like now I've been baking cookies for the past month. Like what do you want? Like I'm not thinking about Savathûn.
What do you want, Savathûn? I'm baking.
Yeah, dude. I honestly
am snowballs, man.
They didn't have it. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't have us bring Savathûn's Crystal some cookies. I'm very surprised.
I honestly figured that was going to be one of the new recipes. And it's just like every week, if they would have made the pile of cookies in her chamber bigger and bigger.
I'm done.
Yeah. They had us do it to the dragon in the Last Wish. Right?
Yeah.
They had us
with the
bring
ribbon.
Have to see
Yeah.
the ribbon.
I totally could have seen them giving cookies to the Crystal of Savathûn and us just being like, okay, whatever. And I'm glad they didn't do that. I could also see them bringing cookies to Osiris's corpse or wherever the hell he's hanging out at this point. That's the cognitive dissonance I feel between the story and what I've been doing in Destiny.
Nice.
Like I've been hanging out with like an astral pony and just making jokes, and I feel like that doesn't fit at all the tone I was feeling. So yeah. I like Season of the Lost a lot. I think it's definitely a step up from the previous season, Splicer. But yeah, the timing and how long it's going on, I think, has really been brutal. And I think they're going to have to do a lot of work to prep for February. I feel they've lost a lot of momentum. So that's how I feel. I like it though. I still need to grind all those damn Dares of Eternity, man. Like I'm really not looking forward to that. That's such an uphill climb. But yeah, I'm going to do it for that damn catalyst because I like Halo.
Yeah. I mean, Trav pretty much said everything I want to say. I'll just add, Morrisov was cool to come back just to see. It's been a while. We haven't seen her. We wanted to know how she played in this whole grand scheme of the schemer, the season of the schemer is what I'm calling it. Season of the Lost. Savathûn was more chilling than ever. I thought. I loved it. Always gave me a little uneasiness every week where it's like you do your mission, your friend,
so you got to go talk to her. Yeah,
and it made me uncomfortable being in that chamber with her. I did not like it. So that was great storytelling. Crow finally, the reveal with Osiris, the betrayal. A lot of in depth with him. Him being confused, that whole bit. Astral alignment. I'm always gonna love Dreaming City. And I thought the activities were fine. I just think it goes on too long. Like Astral Alignment is just a long activity. And that's my only thing. I didn't mind each of the thing, but I just wish maybe one or two were cut and it'd just be a little shorter. I didn't mind, that kind of thing. I'm with Trav. Shattered Realm was fire. Like that was like some old Metrovania type situation. It was just cool, unlocking things. Destiny really never did anything like that where I was like, okay, this is unique. This is cool. This is fun. We got the crossplay. That was great. I'm a huge fan of Age of Scepter. That's like stuck to me right now. It's a whole build for me. I love the dual functionality when your super is at max and you could use it as a very powerful weapon. For Warlocks, we're eating with that. Like, I'm telling you right, that exotic that when we have your super and you do more damage with Age of Scepter. And then also, like, when you use the power and you drain your super, and then you can build your super back up to get the agent. It's a great synergy. Lorenz Driver, I slept on. I was getting killed a lot by it in PvP, and I got mad. I was like, why am I getting one-shotted by this thing? But Lorenz Driver, yeah. And
your teammates getting killed by it because they get pulled into you. That's the worst.
Yeah, Lorenz Driver.
Such guilt flows over me when in trials my team dies because I got headshot. Oh,
yes, Lorenz, beast. We got the crossplay finally. That was huge. Me and E got to see each other. We ran up on each other. I remember when it first debuted. I was like, all right, where's he at?
And it works.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it works. Seeing all my PC friends. That was huge. But Trav again said it best. They have all this great stuff. There's momentum. It's seeming fun, and it's just dead stop. And it's just like I stopped caring. It was just too long a gap. It was like normally we get through. There was one seat. What was it? Arrivals that had a long. This has to be like. It feels like the longest gap between the conclusion of a season.
It will be because the season got delayed. I mean, it's by far because normally it's like 7 or 8 weeks and then final week or two of the season, but it's normally a 12-week season, not a 24-week season, or however long it ends up being. And
it's a shame.
Go ahead.
The last point I'll just say, it was just a shame because it was such a good season. The last thing is, I am a fan of particle deconstruction. I'm Team Fusion. I love linears. I love regular. I liked seeing this thing run crazy and Sleeper and everybody dusting off their little fusion rifles and and we got for trials, we got I like that Stasis one.
Reeds are great.
Oh, I like Reeds. I like Reeds a lot. Triple tap, firing line, kind of thing. And yes, the running joke is we would see, the last word was the last word on trials every week because of this because the season didn't have anything going on.
Trials.
All we had to talk about was trials every week. There was nothing else.
I feel like I feel like they talked more about and did more work on trials in Season of the Lost than they did in Season of the Worthy. The season that was about trials, I feel like we didn't get as much about.
Said agree.
There's so much trial
It
stuff.
was so much because that it literally showed you they had nothing else going on really but that, and I was just like, all right.
Sadly, also shows how little had been done on Crucible before, because I mean it was like a complete 180 the other direction, because it was like 600 days since a Crucible map or the promise to make Crucible great again. And then you see how much they talk about it in depth in every TWAB every week. And you're like, there's no middle ground here. Like just absolute dead zone or overabundance. And there's no middle ground for Crucible discussion. So it's interesting.
Let me get a new red right quick. He said, "Cog, it's just 6 months. It's still not long as D1. I love the gaps back then, and I could do what I wanted and leave." I hear you on the gaps on as far as leaving and coming back.
Those are completed stories.
Those are thank you. Trav just took my point. I was just about to. You can't leave to like Ebontis and Travis' point a story unfinished for 6 months. Then expect to have major anticipation coming back. Like I have literally stopped caring about Savathûn Resolution because I have forgotten. It's been so long. Now we're gonna get into 30th anniversary, right? After E. But it's like we're doing this and I'm baking cookies and I'm doing this and I'm doing joke stuff with others. We get into the other activity. I forgot what we're supposed to be doing, which is waiting for this great betrayal to Marisov and the Guardian, that kind of thing. So that's all I was going to say. I mean, I don't have a problem with gaps. I just have a problem with gaps that are unfinished. There's no conclusion to a narrative. But E, your thoughts, Season of the Lost, this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, starting off with like Marisov, Crow, Petra. I mean, one of the best ones was when Mara and Ikora went at each other on the voicemail. I mean, they were literally about to just take each other's heads off, both of them on, she's on her weird astral plane or whatever she's doing. Ikora just wants to, again, just go full Warlock on her. And I've never seen, I mean, those two people, you do not want to piss either of them off, and they're mad at each other, like enough to want to just kill each other. So just the level of emotions that some of the acting brings out in this season got deep. Crow is like so torn as to why he can't get answers that he wants to be given. Nobody wants to tell him. Petra's keeping him out, basically lock and key. He then sneaks in, talks to Savathûn. There's the dogs barking. It's fine. I took one of my neighbors a slice of cheesecake and they returned to the plate. So
yeah, could barely hit them though. You good?
Yeah. So I mean that was the thing. But again, like as you guys said, Shattered Realm for me was a blast. Also, the higher difficulty will just kick your butt. Trying to do one of you got to do them solo or whatever. Man, each one of those weeks, every week hit a different piece that just wanted to ruin you. But the Scorn one with the bouncing arc balls, it's the Debris of Dreams. Oh my god, that middle one that you've got to like. Oh, that one sucked. But then on the other side, Astral Alignment, as you said, it had some variety, had the Dreaming City theme, which is pretty to look at. But it is that 6-player match made activity, and then once you've done 3, you've kind of done them all. And then they want you to do it 50 times. And anybody
I forgot that was in the game, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's right now. It's been so long, and then it's going to go away. And that's kind of the weird thing we have as we get towards the end of the season. The 30th anniversary stuff's going to stay, theoretically.
Yeah.
I mean, the free stuff, we don't know how long that stuff's going to stay, but Zer's warehouse is going to be there for a little bit. But like Season of the Lost, like Astral Alignment, like, okay, you're the person who's gonna make Astral Alignment. If this was a normal season, you're gonna make the activity that's gone in 3 months.
Yeah.
So you can see they reused assets, they reused the blind well, and then they put some different mechanics in there, which is fine, but it can't be. It's hard to expect something like Proving Grounds or like a new strike, because that theoretically should stay, but you don't know. Expunge and Override, like having their different, like Override was used, but Expunges, we weren't getting those. But we got Shattered Realm, and sadly that's going away. So it's weird to see these like late year additions that also leave quickly, which is interesting. I mean, fusions were an absolute blast. We talked a lot about Crucible, it's crazy. But overall, we talked about Crucible almost more than anything else, besides how much like my thing was the Metroidvania of like, what's the new thing this week? What's the new things that you can unlock and find? And that was the piece for me that probably made me the most mad when I started this season. outside of the story, which I'm with you guys, when you go to chapter 7 of 8, you get in chapter 8, is 4 months away. That's the most frustrating of this entire thing because the momentum is gone. You guys have both said it. When we get to that final reveal, like February, say 8th, if it's 2 weeks before, I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know when it's. I mean, I'm guessing. I don't know. Some people.
No, I'm not saying you're.
But yeah, it's like some people could say like, "Hey, when it comes back in January," I'm like, "Why?" Like, it's in my head. It's got to be close because if you do it in January, then you leave another like 6 weeks of nothing, or like 4 weeks of nothing. So they're probably going to do it close. So it's like, that's one of my big complaints before we get to the 30th is the storytelling needs to complete in a row. Finish the story, and then you can do it later. The final chapter hasn't been printed by Butt. Thing's been written 6 months ago. And that's the annoying part for me is that delay in the finale when you're already almost here, especially with the preview we have for Witch Queen, that's not going to build the hype as they hoped. And it's not going to work quite the same. I wish they would do the story, and then find some way. It's like if the story has an issue, one more thing, do an almighty moment. They have the systems in place to do it. Have that be the go into the chamber and see the chrysalis bust open, have her like go steal the Ahamkara egg and like fly out see some cool animation like that everybody can go see once. But on the other side, you don't need the delay just to get like what's probably going to be going back into astral alignment with a twist is probably all that's going to be. And that's going to be a letdown by the time you get there. And that's unfortunately, I don't like seeing that because the story was, as you guys said, was like freight train momentum. It's a wall, and I just hate seeing that. So I mean,
to be nice, even though we all agreed it was handled not the greatest, and it's just we don't like the way it was executed. This is both examples of these delays as a result of major expansions being delayed when they were supposed to take the place of said delay, right? So we try to be understand. Yeah, exactly. We try to be understanding, but I agree. It's such a punch to the gut because it's just like, damn, like we got no momentum even, we just waiting so long, for it. But, they understand. I don't know what, I guess my question is, like, what could they do when they know they have a delay? And I guess if we like transition into it.
I was like, for me, whether it's a 12-week season or a 6-month season, the story beats should be completed in succession. If you're going to do a weekly story beat, don't do a mid-season finale with one more episode. Do all 8 episodes, and then next season and you could, if you want to do like a live moment, if you want to do a little blip at the end, cool. If you want a little more transition, which I actually would like, because Chosen to Splicer was like not connected.
Right.
So it's like if you want a little connection moment for some reason or a little teaser, that's fine. But 8 episodes of the 8-episode season need to be in 8 weeks, not 7 and then week 14.
I guess the question is, why do you think they are intent on not giving us that? Right? What, like, because I agree with you, right? They should conclude the story, right? Because we're going to wait anyway, right? So conclude the story. The only thing I could think of is that they're trying to build up this fake hype again for Witch Queen.
Well, exactly. And that's something they don't. I would say they don't. That's what you are correct. I'm going to bet that you are probably correct. They're hoping that last 2 weeks of the season, hey, log back in, see how this season ends. Then they'll drop the trailer. Then they'll drop the TWAB. Hype's going into the next season.
Right.
The trailer and the TWAB are going to do it anyway.
Right. See, that's where I'm with you. That's where I'm
like, they don't need to like, hey, here's a reason to log back in. Like the trailer's going to do it. People have taken their break, period. Even if you're going to be like, well, now you got to go pop back in for 5 seconds to see a little thing and then you're done again. Get it all done. Then do a trailer and be like, oh, cool. I'm ready to come back next season. Maybe I'll log in, check a couple boxes. But like, you don't have to, like, that's for me. It's get those.
No, I'm with you.
And then if you want to do a little teaser for the season, you want to do like a little bonus if you're like whatever. But that story needs told start to finish in the weeks that are connected. No epilogue break crap for the main story. That's my main one of my main arguments.
I think they're fearful of lost engagement so much that they keep sticking to this old model of, all right, so then 2 more weeks before, then we'll conclude the Savathun saga, and then it'll lead right into Witch Queen, and we'll get the hype. But I'm kind of with I'm curious what you feel on it, Trav, because I'm kind of like, with E now that I think they don't need to do it anymore. Like they can conclude it, right? Let's say they would have concluded it a couple weeks back. We would have had the story, and then we would have had this 30th anniversary. We all still would have played. We always still logged in, and then once Witch Queen trailer and ready to go. But what do you think? Like, do you still, or do you disagree? Do you think like, yo, they're fine doing it this way based on what their analytics and their metrics show?
I think the reason they're doing it has more to do with bookending the season than it does with building hype or anything like that.
Okay.
Because I think that they want the season to have a beginning and then a story that's told over time, but they can't do more than a week because that's like too long to wait for the next episode of something. But then practically speaking, they can't do a season so quickly that they're changing a new season every 12 weeks, right? Or every 8 weeks or however long it is that they've been doing the story. So I think it has to do more with practicality. Like, why are you helping Marasov and why are you talking to crystals and doing all the stuff that you do with the season if the season ends after the 10th week and there's like no time for you to catch up? So they kind of need to hold the end until the end of the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
That way they can go, okay, this event marks like the end of Season of the Lost, and now the Season of the Witch Queen is started, or whatever the heck they're going to call it. So I think it has to do more with like practicality of their game and like bookending the season. It's such a tough thing to do because they don't have enough content to make 6 months with every week a new thing. And also I don't think that would work. I think you'd get exhausted of 6 months
of week,
anticipation and building up and having to like grind a thing. That would just suck. So I think that they have this dead space to let other players catch up who can't log on every week, because there's probably still some people out there catching up on the story.
So do you think it's more like worry of spoilers for the people who can't catch up? Because theoretically, if you could play all 8 weeks, we'll see then. Okay, so if you're worried about if people don't log in early, they could still log in on week 10, get all 8 weeks of the season, and get the story in one chunk if they wanted to. That way, if it was without the bookend.
Right, but then they don't have a reason why it's still Season of the Lost. Like if you're spending 5 months of Season of the Lost with the story over and Marasov done and Savathun taken care of, then it's not really Season of the Lost, right? They want it to have an ending. And I get that. Like the final event of that season should happen at the final week of the season. But the problem with that model is that they don't have enough content to fill in a 6 month, 5 month season. Even a 3 month season, I think, is probably more than they should do, just because people aren't going to stick around and listen to 40 episodes of a soap opera just to get to the ending. That's just way too much to ask for the player. So I think it has to do more with the practicality of like what a season is versus their bandwidth and ability to actually pump up content. So I don't know if it's even a solvable problem, but I do agree it's super annoying as a player to have to wait that long and for all those things to happen. But it's the way they've chosen to do it. I kind of think they should wrap it up, and I don't know if the seasonal model even makes sense for Destiny. To be honest with you,
that's another.
I was like, that's a debate we've had all year too.
That's a big one right there.
Yeah. They should just do content releases. Like, why does it have to be a whole season about it, or like you're doing a thing? But yeah,
well, we know we got 4 more seasons at least for Witch Queen, so it continues for another year.
I think they're going to continue, and I think they're still not going to take away levels from the artifact, which they should. It's so stupid. There's so many things about the seasonal model in Destiny that I get why they're doing it, because it's the thing with live service games. They're all doing seasons now, but I kind of wonder, like, does Destiny need to do it, or can they just release updates and the update, you get it all at once and it's there, or they put it out over the course of 8 weeks and then it just sort of sits there and doesn't get anything on top of it. But I feel like they want the season to be living, and they want there to be a beginning and then you to go through and play all in the middle, and then at the end of the season there to be this finale at the end right before the new season starts. And I get that need. I get why they're doing it. It just unfortunately means that those of us who are really on top of our shit and play every week have to wait, and it's sort of awkward for us. But maybe this is a one-time thing. Maybe it'll just be like a 4-week wait in the future, because I really think the problem is a 3-month wait feels awful. Feels awful. And I think maybe
the epilogue wasn't as bad, but it still wasn't great to me, because that was, I think Splicer literally had epilogue on it, or one of those, or Chosen did. It's still, again, as I think you described it well, it's like a problem that doesn't have a great solution, because they want. But the only problem with the way the stories have been told this season is there hasn't been a great connection. It's not like Season of the Chosen and Caiatl's story and the way that wraps up tied into Mithrax at all. So when you finish Season of the Chosen, and if you want to bookend it, it's a way to wrap a season, sure. But there's not like, hey, Caiatl does this thing, and Caiatl crosses by, like Caiatl is like having a meeting with Zavala, and all of a sudden Mithrax walks up with a white flag and like, hey, can we talk? Like that doesn't happen to say like, that's cool. That the transitions, and again, same thing. Splicer's Mithrax put a bow on that, and then now Savathun. Now Savathun had a little more tie in there, which was better because Expunge and Override and those pieces had her little text in the corner, and then now Savathun. But it wasn't still like the best tie. Quaria was there a little bit, but again, it's not like this true tie over connection. So again, if the connections got better, it would make more sense for the epilogue. But still, like a month delay just to get the final chapter doesn't sit great. But at least if there was a connection, it would. I wish it was like most of it's told and then like the connection, like the epilogue was truly like an epilogue. Like, here's your story, climax, ending, finish. Epilogue, it'd be like 4 weeks later. This is where we are, and that's how it goes. Almost like if you were reading a book where it's like 6 months later, whatever type thing. So
the key. I'm sorry.
No, it's like that's just it's the more Travis talked about it, the more I understand why it is a weird issue. But so far, they haven't proven to me that it's necessary to move that epilogue so far until it connects better. I guess that's where I'm at.
Yeah, where I'm at is the key for me is going to be 2022, barring no more delays, right? If we're assuming, right, Witch Queen debuts, which should have debuted 2021 in the fall. So barring now, Witch Queen now launches, the end of 2022, whatever said next expansion, is that Lightfall?
Yes.
Lightfall supposedly.
So if Lightfall drops, so Lightfall is when is it scheduled right now? When is it targeted?
If you go a year later than Witch Queen, then theoretically it's February of 23, but that's just speculation.
That's speculation, right? So the question is going to be: do we think we would get an expansion at the end of the year? Right? We're going to assume no because Witch Queen got pushed back, right?
No, like if they're doing 4 seasons, they wouldn't shrink a season. If anything, they'd have extra length if they need to delay Witch Queen.
Yeah,
I think it would only get farther away.
I think Lightfall will come out in fall of 2023.
Wow, that far.
Wow.
Yeah, because they're going to launch this Witch Queen and they're going to immediately have a ton of stuff to do, and I just can't see Lightfall coming out a year later. That's crazy to me. I think it'll probably be like an 18-month rotation with their.
Do you think the seasons will be longer then?
I think they'll do the exact same thing they've done this one, where the seasons are normal length, and then the last one's just hella long.
Yeah. So pretty much we're off the norm, the traditional cadence of
Destiny. They're off the Activision cadence because they don't have to be.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's
I think it'll be 18. I think it'll be 18 months between releases.
I mean, for them to get away from crunch, yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of those things too. It's like you got quality. Now, of course, you have stuff coming out about Bungie. We talked about that previously, where, they're trying to be a better employer. But again, there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle, much like on top of the equality and everything else that they're trying to work on. It's like working conditions and everything. Still a lot of people working from home, that type of stuff. So again, if you say 18 months and you do it again, that's a point to where it's like, hey, whatever Lightfall is, whatever happens in season 16, 17, 18, 19,
right?
Please don't do this again. That's all I'm saying. Season 19 story, I don't need that 6-month epilogue.
In fairness, it's not like they purposely did it. They planned to drop Witch Queen in the fall.
I know. I get the delay happened. But again, as also Travis is saying,
I think they'll do it again.
Do you think they can get back to that annual cadence, or do you even want them to?
I'll be honest.
For them or us or quality of game.
The more I listen to Travis talk about it, the more I agree that they control their own destiny in the way they're going to do things. And I think
point on it.
Yeah, I think traditionally, I know, right, like that. Traditionally, I have to mentally break myself from the mindset that every September is when a new Destiny expansion happens, right? They are now the runners of their own ship, and now with Witch Queen pushed back to February, that's a huge change. we're getting a major expansion in February that has never really happened. That changes the course of the rest of the timeline. So all bets are off now, right? So, and I'm with Trav. I can't at least for 2022, I cannot expect them to give us another major expansion release after
I think
Witch
that's
Queen.
completely
No, it won't be less than a year. February would be the soonest I'd expect it. But again,
I think it'll be summer, closer to September. I think it'll be 18
now Scarrow, shout out to Scarrow. Sorry,
shout out.
I think maybe what would solve your problem, Ebontis, is if they just did an 8-week story and they had an epilogue, and then that week before the new thing came out was more of a prologue to the upcoming season rather than a closer to the previous one.
That fully would support that.
Call it the season prologue to the next season. I think that would solve your issue. So.
The question would be though, I like what Scarrow's saying in the chat. Shout out to the homie. Is that because of Witch Queen being delayed to February, if February ends up becoming, if they're able to maintain it, if they're able to maintain this schedule and this cadence of content release, if February becomes the new expansion release as opposed to the traditional September, so it's an annual February, like a spring expansion release, that would be interesting to see if they're able to do that.
If they did that, I guess we would all know that Crimson Days is dead for good.
It definitely is. Be like, and we're launching Witch Queen with Crimson Days right out of the gate. No,
I don't think,
ever happening.
It's not looking good for Crimson Days this year, and I don't think it'll be looking good for Crimson Days any year if February becomes the regular release window. I think we're
forward out for the Crimson.
There's
one more piece I wanted to get to with regards to other games, but 30th anniversary. We've talked a lot about it recently, but that was kind of the shot in the arm that we got to fill this gap. Not story related, but cool exotics, Gjallarhorn, Forerunner, Grasp of Avarice. Actually got a dungeon in. Halo weapons, Dares of Eternity. I know Paul had his Dares of Eternity, finally got a sword moment. The grind for the Forerunner Catalyst is just exorbitantly long. But overall, 30th anniversary for a lot of people, I would say. Some people question the value. I guess this is my main question. The value of 30th anniversary. Is it worth it? Because what you are paying for is ornaments, Gjallarhorn, and Grasp. Because there's Halo Forerunner free. So theoretically, what was advertised about it is half free. So do you pay the $20, the $25? Do you guys feel the 30th anniversary is worth the $25, say the real price? For somebody who, average Joe.
I'm late to the party because you guys did obviously a last word. You guys got to talk more about stuff, and I'm just now catching up. So I'll just say this before I get into that question. I just finally did. Shout out to DJ who's in the chat, DJ Orals. Shout out to Mitch. It was it was fun. I finally did Grasp. I really enjoyed it.
Where do you rank it?
Very tough. Oh, man, this is tough. It is. The story is absolutely hilarious, right? The whole after my loot, I had to get rid of that when I threw a Guardian down a chute and threw a grenade on him, and you know what I'm saying, like that. The jokes of it was hilarious. The mechanic of the whole greeds, get the Engrams, point into the thing. You could play tricks on your friend by hitting switches and stuff like that. The final encounter, and then shooting across breaking the wall was fun. You know what I'm saying? Doing the shooting across the different aspects of the fall and stuff. I don't know if I have it as my number one. I like it. I don't know if I have it over. I still think the champion is the one in that you go to
Prophecy.
Prophecy. I still think is the champion. I love the Prophecy boss fight. And I still think the mechanics of Prophecy building the room with light and dark,
the cube room, and
I still have that as a better experience. But this is a fun experience. This is tough. It's a fun thing, but you know what it reminds me? It's the Wrath of the Machine conundrum. Whereas how high do you rate something because it is fun versus
why do you play video games?
True.
Always.
True.
Because they're fun. That's from ACG. It's fun factor.
Shout out to ACG. I think it's a lot. To your answer, your initial question, I think so far it has been worth it for me. The the 30th anniversary. For me, I am biased though. You throw Halo weapons
We're all
in
biased.
this. Oh yeah, like clearly
We
biased.
all
I
like
mean-
Destiny a lot, so
But the Halo
and
thing
some of us
got
make
me.
a living with it.
Yeah, like the Halo thing got me, bro. Like the Forerunner, then you got the auto. I mean, the pulse rifle. That's literally the BR that
like a
zooms in.
They made a unique pulse rifle archetype for it.
Yeah, like I feel it is. You know what I'm saying? Now, Dares of
But
Eternity.
that stuff's
another,
free. That's the fun.
True,
That's-
true. You're right. You're right.
Scarrow said
You're
it pretty
right.
well. He said, hold on, I gotta find pricing scheme is all over the place. I'd pay it again, but I understand why someone might have a problem with pretty much a single dungeon for $25.
Yeah.
Because again, you're talking about Halo. I was like, everybody got that. So then you're like, do you want Galahorn and do you want a dungeon? Ornaments are ornaments. Like you get like the full ornament set, and then you can earn another ornament set if you have the 30th anniversary. That stuff you can get. So you can get a lot of ornaments, which value wise, those suckers are expensive anyway. So then you're getting a dungeon for like $10.
Yeah.
So it's always that like, where do you value all the pieces? That was all.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I think that it's worth it for me. That's all I want to say. For me, I really enjoyed that dungeon. I thought it was really fun. I thought Galley coming back was cool. I like Dares of Eternity a lot. I think it's absolutely hilarious. It's a game show. It's funny. You know what I'm saying? It's a cool activity. They had fun with Zur. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious, guys, what you think. I'm really enjoying the content a lot. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, my perspective on the situation is, on principle, I try to never take price into consideration when I'm evaluating if something is good or not. And the reason for that is partially because they beat it into my head when you learn to write for IGN, is that money is not a reason to review something better or worse. Neither is the circumstances in which a game is created, right? Like if a game was made by a smaller team, it doesn't make it a better game because it's made by a smaller team, right? It just means that it was made by a smaller team. And the reason I think it's important to not worry about value or money is because the price of it doesn't make it better, right? If it's cheaper, it doesn't mean the dungeon is suddenly better because it was cheaper. It just means that they charged less money for it. And two, money means different things to different people. Some people have lots of money and it's not a big deal to pay $25. And for some people, $25 is like the difference between, food that day or not, or them making rent. And so it's way too complicated to get into it. So what I try to view is the content that they're selling fun? Is the content that they're selling worth your time?
Yes.
And I would say the dungeon and Galahorn are both fun and worth your time. And so therefore it's up to you to decide if the price is worth those things. All I can do is give you a recommendation on the content itself. And so the content itself is good. The free content is also good. But again, it being free doesn't make it better or worse. Apex is a free game. Some would say it's a fantastic shooter that is free. Nerf Legends is a $70 game. And some people, mostly me, would say that game is not fun at all. So yeah, I would say it's up for you to decide the money, but for me, the content that I paid for was really high quality, and I'd probably pay it again. I definitely would. I mean, I'm a Destiny simp, so
I was like, I got a part of the, Witch Queen pack. So mine was $20. It was a little bit cheaper. I get a dungeon, I get a couple ornament sets. I'm like, sure, I know. And that's the thing I actually did when making this list. I posted on Twitter, and I go through and I look, what does a year of Destiny look like? $100 for the next year. And if we look back through, and everything we just got done talking about for an hour and a half came with the $80 pack, and then now at the 30th anniversary, that's the 30th plus Witch Queen's year. $100 for everything we got over the course of a year. As you said, some games are $70 and don't have nearly this much. Now, is this a type of game that everybody likes? Are there issues with it? Absolutely, sure. We want to pull our hair out with armor synthesis. There are moments, 100% get it. But overall, like the value of the game, if this is a game that you have fun with, it is a very good value. And Scarrow, no, Nerf Legends is not Game of the Year. It is, what is the opposite of Game of the Year? It needs that award.
The Razzies?
Yeah, the Razzies, yeah.
The Razzies. Yeah, I mean, it's a good one.
So, no, I was just going to say, just to put a quick kind of either prediction or wants for you guys as we wrap up this year for Witch Queen 2022. And also, just where do you see Witch Queen's year ranking in the 8-year spectrum of Destiny? I want to go for prediction now because we'll do a 2022 prediction and kind of recap. Where do you see the year of Witch Queen ranking in the spectrum of Destiny's years?
Look at you.
Yeah.
What?
That's a good question.
Speculate.
I think it'll be worse than, in my book. I think it'll be worse than the Taken King, worse than Forsaken, but I think it'll be better than all the other ones. And I don't really think that's that hard of a bar to cross, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I mean, Rise of Iron, Vanilla Destiny. Let's not even talk about that. Rise of Iron is good, but it has like 4 story missions and didn't really change a whole lot about the game. Just added some good content. Destiny 2 Vanilla, I actually like more than most people. It's probably number 4 for me. But
no, Red War was like the longest campaign I think we've ever had.
Yeah, I really
like
like that campaign, and I didn't mind a lot of stuff like Trials of the Nine. I thought was, obviously double primaries was a problem, but
yeah, that was a problem.
I liked the mode. And then after that we've got what was the next full year? It wasn't it Curse of Osiris? That was a part way through.
Forsaken. Destiny 2, Forsaken, Shadowkeep, Beyond Light.
Forsaken, I think it'll probably better, but they have mentioned that they can't do the scale of Forsaken anymore, so I don't think it's going to hit that one. The Taken King is just hard to beat in my book. Like I don't think that they'll be able to do it just because it's such high quality, but I think it'll be better than like Shadowkeep for sure, Beyond Light for sure, like all that stuff
for sure.
So yeah, I think it'll probably be the third best would be my guess. That's like such a pessimistic thing to say. The future's bright. I think it'll be the third best.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I think that's probably where they'll land, which isn't bad.
What was your second best after Taken King? Draft.
Forsaken.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we kind of got the same ranking. Yeah. I mean, that's about a reasonable prediction I think that you can make. I agree. I think that as much as I want it to be the greatest thing of all time, you know, that kind of thing, they've outright said we're not getting Taken King level, Forsaken level expansions. So that kind of puts a kibosh on that. Not to say that the quality is going to be garbage or anything like that. It's just the sheer scope. That's all I'll say. So, yeah, I would think definitely. I think I'm literally right in pocket with everything Trav said. I don't think it's going to be. It could maybe rival. The only way it could rival Forsaken, that raid and the lead up in the campaign gotta be like God tier storytelling. Yeah. Like something.
I think it would also need a secret location.
They've got to do something that we just did not expect. They blow our mind, or something that we've complained about, and they actually execute, and we go, "Oh, okay, Bungie." You know what I'm saying? So they got a shot at it. I mean, we all saw the devs yelling on Twitter, Bungie. They're clearly excited about something, in the future. But is that it? We will see, right? Kind of thing. But from, I think, a low-end expectation, at the very minimum, it will be better than Beyond Light and better than Shadowkeep. I'm confident in that. I'm confident it's going to be better than that. And I just want to see the execution. I want to see, is she truly worthy of that villain title that we've given Oryx, right? That's really the question for me. Yeah. Because and the question is, I don't want her, like E says, like I don't want her blasted out after we do it.
Mission 5 campaign strike dead.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna airlock her. What if we killed her in the first mission? How much would you guys lose your mind if it was the opening mission?
You were going to see a pissed off me on stream. I'm just going to be like, all right, screw this. Horizon Zero Dawn, start.
I'm kind of talking myself into it now. Now I kind of want that to happen because that would be the only thing nobody would suspect. No one would have that on their bingo card that she dies in the opening mission and somebody else is.
What, Zivu Wrath is actually like the main baddie.
Something like that. Or it's just the darkness. Or it's just the darkness.
Then Ziva Wrath is the real villain. Yeah, Scare was with me on that one. Yeah, I saw that.
It will tell us from a narrative standpoint. We do complain that that stuff is predictable, and they just throw us this curveball. We'd be like, yo, mind blown. It was a ruse all along. Xivu a rat, yo.
Damn it. Damn it. I said it as a joke, and now I'm hoping for and pining that this is the case. So
listen,
they either have to kill her on the first or second mission.
No, we're gonna kill her, and then she's gonna have the light, and then you're gonna see her resurrect or something. So she's gonna have the light and resurrect. So
right. So that's it. Just the transition. I want the narrative beats to be good. I'm very curious about crafting. Very curious about that. Want to see how that see where they go with that.
Because the Prismatic Recaster and Umbrals are out of the helm.
Yeah, but give it to you. What's your prediction on it?
For a year of content, if you go full year, Taken King is a great expansion. But we had a lot of downtime in that year before Rise of Iron.
Yes.
So it's like the expansion was good. If Witch Queen can even scratch at a close factor of like the expansion of Taken King, if they keep with the storytelling that they're doing in these seasons, and if they keep building like cool things like Presage and the campaign is sick, and we have honestly, like, I think Taken King as a year won't hold a candle to Witch Queen if they can deliver on a campaign and stories that build.
You're talking about the whole year.
I literally said years. That's why you guys.
Sorry, my mic cut off. My headset kept disconnecting.
I still stick with my prediction. But
No,
I get what he's saying.
That's so for a year of content for me, Witch Queen theoretically could beat them all if we have stories. Because I mean, if you go back to like Forsaken, we had Season of the Drifter, we had Season of the Forge, we had Season of Opulence, which I know is pretty high. But it depends. Do you like stories? Do you like activities? Where do you fall in all this stuff? If they can keep the stories, the voice acting, that type of stuff going, kind of new, unique perks, fun exotics, and then somehow like have like the Presages and the other pieces paired with like couple dungeons, couple like another raid coming back, it could be one of the best years we've ever had. I think it's possible. But granted, the big question is, how do we handle Savathûn? Is it what Travis wants? And this is like our enemy we talk to and interact with all year long, or it's like kind of an enemy, but kind of this weird antagonist, not so much the villain we kill in the raid, or if she dies in the middle of the first mission, it's going in the trash. Like it's one of those, it'll be in the bushes for your guys' sake. So yeah, the big question is like, I want to know how that campaign plays out, and that'll be my big one, I think, mostly. So I will be very curious because it has potential, I think, for a full year of content to do a lot. It has potential for sure. But as you said, you got crafting, you got glaive. There's a lot of potential, but I think we've said this half the year. There's also a lot of weight on this if it can live up to what people want at this point, which hopes are probably too high for it as it is.
Yeah, for sure.
So kind of the final thing that I want to touch on with you guys, complete shift at this point. We got a short time. We got to let Cognito get to pick up Lady Cognito, or Mother Cognito, I guess. Mama Cog. Not Lady. But Mama Cog.
The mother of ninjas, she's known.
Yeah, the mother of ninjas.
That was good.
Yeah. So what I wanted to ask you guys, we play a lot of other games. We talk a lot about Destiny, but we actually tend to play a lot of other games throughout the year between downtimes and things like that. So I wanted to ask you guys if you can kind of make this. I'm going to do this and the most anticipated that you know about for 20. Like, what are you looking for? Top 3 to 5 games, however big of a list that you can kind of get out in a few minutes. What are your top-ish games for kind of 2021? And if you want to do just like start towards the bottom, do a couple and work your way up, or if you guys just want to knock out a list, if you got anything you just want to get off your chest, I can probably tell you Travis is number 1 anyway, so I don't even know if I need to ask him.
So we're gonna start off with top games of 2021.
Top games of 2021, just 3 to 5 top ones, wherever you want to. If you even want to rank them, it's up to you. Just like what have you played and why are they up there for you?
For me, I'll start kind of towards the bottom. Forgotten City was absolutely amazing for me.
Oh my god, so good.
Yeah,
I still need to play that. That's on my list.
That came out of nowhere. That is, to me, is how you do a time loop game. Like 12 minutes, tried to do something, and it was just respectful of time with that. I gotta admit, I think it's Halo Infinite for me, bro. I think it's Halo Infinite. But it's not because it's
love you.
Yeah, love you too, brother. Love you too, bro. It's first of all, doing the campaign on heroic for me was the sweet spot of the perfect difficulty where every boss fight felt like a challenge. Is it perfect? No. Of course, there's some little issues here and there. But as far as far as storytelling, and I just had so much fun with that game. Like that, I didn't know if they would transition the open world as well as they did, and I thought it was done well. I loved the characters. I loved the Ashram situation, and I'm not going to spoil, but yeah, I felt very strongly about that. I enjoyed every minute towards the end of that game. I really did, and the multiplayer. Sorry, Destiny. It's the best right now. It's the most balanced.
It's got the best gunplay.
Best balance, most fun, it's not even close. The king is back. It's back. I have to say it. That's just what it is. So that's the two I can think of off top right now. I know I'm forgetting a couple things. I want to say Disco, but Disco already came out. And
your games you played. So.
Yeah. Oh, Guardians was fire. Guardians was amazing. Yeah, that was a sleeper.
It's on my list too.
Yeah, those are three right now I could think of right now. I'll let you guys go if anything else comes up to me, but those are the ones right now.
Where are you?
Halo Infinite's my number one.
Mm-hmm.
No surprise.
Forza Horizon 5 is probably close behind that.
I forgot Forza was good. Horizon was great.
It Takes Two is number 3 for me. After that would probably be Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
And then after that, Psychonauts 2, which I'm actually not done with, but damn, it's a good game. Other games you should go and play this year that were super good: Resident Evil Village, Deathloop,
that's easy.
Returnal,
that's easy.
Super good. Metroid Dread,
Metroid Dread was good. Yes.
Forgotten City, you already gave a shout out for, but that one was super good. Tales of Arise.
Yes. Maddie goes hard for that too.
Knockout City.
It's so RPG heavy. It's not funny.
Knockout City, yeah, a little sleeper.
Knockout City's probably on my top 10 games this year. That was like
I know you raved about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a stan for that one. And then what else?
Can we count Mass Effect Trilogy? Because we played a lot of it.
I wouldn't. I never count remasters.
That's true. I can't. I'm with you.
But yeah, those are probably my top games this year that I think everybody should try to make time for. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of got a list, some honorable mentions. There's a lot I missed, like stuff I missed, like Forgotten City. Absolutely, still got to play the Halo campaign. That's another one, and Psychonauts. Like those are 3 big ones I've missed that I really want to play. As for, I haven't done this in a complete. I literally finished Guardians last night at 1:00 in the morning. So those of you guys that were in my Twitch chat, finished it last night. That game is prettier, better voice acted, character models, pretty worlds, like than it ever had any like respect, like chance it should have been. I don't love the combat. Yeah. And that's like the point for me that doesn't keep it as high. But everything, I almost wish the combat would have almost been like more on rails, just so the story could have been like lived through. Because the combat and the abilities are kind of fun for me, but it's like depending on if like you trip and fall and then you got to repeat a segment or something. It's like moments like that, and but everything else of it, like I'm sitting there like Ratchet is just like going, or Rocket is going through his thing, and then it's like all the story beats when you have to towards the end, what you have to do to break somebody out of something, which you guys are not like all me and chat. I'm just like dagger to the heart, twist. I'm like, damn, this is. I was like, oh, this is about to get rough. Yeah, you just need a hug. So no, like that game, it's worth the. Yeah, it's like 15, 16 hours, whatever it takes you to get through the story. The combat's fine, but everything else in that one, playing it on my new monitor, God, it's just gorgeous. So
beautiful game,
beautiful game. So I mean that one. Returnal is. I don't know if it's my number one, but I haven't like solidified my list, but Returnal did something for me this year that was somehow a bullet hell roguelike third person shooter. And the deeper you got into it, the crazier it got. The last biome just kind of blew me away. Then when you figured out more about like this little lingering kind of like vague story, and it's kind of like got that like unclear Souls-like story, but enough where you kind of get it. Returnal was special for me because I started it, set it down for something, And then I still wanted to know so much, and it kicked my ass enough. I still wanted to pick it back up. And then actually, like, I wasn't sure I was going to get it. And then it's like you finally make that next hurdle. So that was really good. Grime is gotta be like my, I know Kina is like a Sony indie, but it had a Kana. Is it Kana?
Yeah, Kana.
I think it's Kenna.
Kana.
I've heard it pronounced like 4 different ways, but yeah.
The dev told us how to do it, and I forgot how to pronounce it.
Kana was beautiful. Like, I want to see their second game because that was a fun game and harder than it should. But Grime, for a tiny little, like, 4 or 5 person little team and a cool composer, the music when that thing hits, the weird places that story went, and the combat was, for me, like, really cool in the exploration. Grime was, like, really high. Deathloop, I had so much fun in that game. Maddie hates it, which kills me when I listen to him, but I haven't played Dishonored, so in fairness, I don't have that point of reference. I just had so much fun in Deathloop listening to both of them go back and forth. Like, it was, just the 2 main voice actors, the crap they gave each other, the way things were delivered. And I was like, and there's some stuff detracting from it, but honestly, it was like, Returnal's probably maybe my number 1 just because of it was unique for me to go through something like that. It Takes Two, I played the whole thing through with my wife, and it's like, I don't know if I've ever played a game with my wife or finished one with her. So that one's very special. The story was cheesy, but the fact that we played it together was cool. I want to kind of an honorable mention to Outriders, because my experience in Outriders was honestly like a blast. I had like the week and a half that I played it, I had so much fun, so many things for looter shooters. I'm like, please learn from Outriders. And then they still come back with Transmog and slap it in Destiny's face, like certain things about that. And then to finish my year on Guardians, and then I played Metroid Dread. And as somebody who loves that style, it's
so good.
So it is like tight. The progression's just like, here's a new thing, here's a new thing, here's this cool thing, here's this. Like, I think I only found like 40% of the stuff and I still finished it. I didn't care to 100% it because I was trying to. But I was like, I remember Super Metroid being one of my favorite SNES games, and this basically solidified as to why. Because Nintendo may take 4.5 years and painfully take their damn sweet time to put turn on Bluetooth in the Switch, and I wanted to kill them for that. But the fact that I turned on Bluetooth and put one earbud in and played this thing, and Metroid is a polished, tight, complete game that, like, the animations are just like, it's just so well done. Ugh. Yeah. So, yeah, it's like, I don't know where my list solidifies yet, but there's not like a God of War or a Last of Us or, I mean, Halo Infinite for you guys is that. I just haven't played it yet. Yeah, it's like, I haven't played that yet, so that's why I was like, and I'm not as attached to it as you guys. But for me, there were some amazing games that are duking it out, and it's hard because I had fun with a lot of them. So
yeah, I wanted to add, you made me remember, I have to add Outriders towards the bottom of the list, only because the game, if a game is as broken as it was as launch, still gets me to want to play it as much as I still played it, it's a testament to the game. Yeah. Because that game literally did everything in its power for me not to like it. And that was like
Destiny Year 1.
It was Destiny Year 1, but it was just like, E said, the quality of life, the customization,
the sorting, stupid button like that, like delete blues.
Delete blues, the UI organization, like everything that we're like, Destiny, please take notes. This is how you do things, on quality of life for a looter shooter. I have to give it that. And I still had a ton of fun, and I'm curious to see where they continue on for it. I got to play the new content. What is it? Horizons, whatever. Didn't they had new expeditions?
There were like 4 expeditions, but the story's still the same. So it's like, I mean, quality of life changes there mostly.
Yeah.
All right. So it's like, my list I know got long and a little extra, but there was a lot of fun this year in games, and it's like, and I still haven't solidified what my top ones are going to be. And again, it's like, if I could iron out like Halo, I'd be very curious where it would fall. But yeah, it's like, there's a lot of stuff this year there were some good surprises. I will say a couple letdowns though. Biomutant I never touched. I was excited for that. Balan Wonderland, I tried the demo and I wanted to throw up.
Terrible.
Mario Golf Super Rush was also a pretty heavy letdown. So those were a couple letdowns. Top 3 games you're most anticipated for in 2022. Go.
And we have 1 minute.
Oh, for me, it's Starfield. I am such a sci-fi nut, and then I wanted to see.
You want Mass Effect 4, but in Bethesda world.
Nah. I mean, it's because
It's not going to be Mass Effect.
It's not going to be Mass Effect. Yeah, this is going to be like if this is Skyrim in space, I'm going crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to know what this thing. The more I learn about it, the more excited I get. So that's one. Horizon, obviously looking phenomenal. Forbidden West. I want to see what's going on with that. And surprisingly, I got my eye on that. That Elden Ring do look kind of fire. I ain't gonna front.
Oh my god! If you play that, I want to watch. If you play that, I so want to watch.
Dive in, but I must admit, it looks pretty cool. But yeah, that's it for me right now. I just want to see the rest of the year how it pans out. But what about you, Travis? What's your anticipated?
Yeah. I think we're probably gonna have similar lists, but Starfield for sure. Destiny 2: The Witch Queen is on my list.
Well, I mean, excluding the obvious, yes.
Yeah, Elden Ring is on my list. Also, the Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out next year. Which
is it huge. Though?
That's the question. Is it?
I think it will.
Nintendo
likes to keep things pretty close.
Pear said something where he saw something about that, where he's Pear Schneider.
Yeah,
I saw that.
I'm pretty excited about Hogwarts Legacy. I don't even really like Harry Potter, but that game has been fascinating since
if that comes.
Yeah, if it comes, Redfall as well. We haven't seen a lot of that game, but I'm pretty interested in that. And then Gotham Knights, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. I can see that.
See what that's about. Yeah. So a few.
I mean, for me, just I'll be cliche as hell. Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, both of those for me. Like God of War was my game of PS4. I mean, Travis is like we are different minds on that one, and we know, but that's fine. But Horizon is looking fantastic, and I'm so sad. But I mean, nothing's gonna top my want for another Souls game from Software. And Elden Ring for me is just, it pains me so much because of that delay. It absolutely kills me. Because as you who I know don't even care to touch those ever are even slightly intrigued. So of course I'm like over the top. So yeah, Elden Ring, Horizon, God of War, yeah, I could play next year on a PlayStation and be fine. But yeah, those are my big ones. Elden Ring, I cannot wait, and I just want to get lost in that thing, and I'm not gonna have the time to do it for a while. And Horizon, the more and more I see of that thing, I swear it's getting better and better. Like the way that world looks is just gonna be
phenomenal. Yeah,
absolutely. The snake, like I'm like, oh my god. So no, that's gonna be crazy. But yeah, Forspoken, Final Fantasy 16, like a couple other like discussions on those. I mean, and then of course like Starfield, if they can do like a sci-fi world, is like I've never been as big into those, but if that could be like the one that pulls me into a Bethesda RPG, bring it on. Like if that thing can deliver, then happy. So, well, I know Cog's got to run, so we got to wrap this thing up. Thank you all for being here for this one. Probably will have an episode next week because I think everybody will be in town. But this is like the end of 2021. Wanted to wrap it up, kind of a good recap on the year of Destiny because we just kind of have a lull until we get more on Witch Queen and things pick back up. But gentlemen, it has been a pleasure of a year. I want to thank you both for sharing the campfire with me, sharing stories, making brand new friends out of one of these. So like literally the campfire expanded by one. We brought up a new log seat for him, and Travis, it's been a pleasure. Cog, as always, this is, what are we on, our 4th year of this now, basically?
Yeah.
4 years of campfire talk.
Didn't exist before me, so I'd say the first year.
It's been a pleasure. Yeah. But yeah, Travis, what about you?
Yeah, you can find me on IGN.com. My last review before I clocked out for 2021 was
Ray?
I don't remember.
Right, like the gods, just like the Colossus.
Oh, pray for the gods. Thank you. Yeah, I gave a 4 out of 10 to end the year with a wet fart. Yeah, don't play that game. It's not that good. Save you some time. But yeah, you can find my articles there. I'll be writing a ton of stuff for IGN next year, I assume. They've been using me more and more. And then you can follow me on Twitter if you hate yourself enough to do that. How about you, Cog?
Look, it's been tremendous year, man. It's been a fun year. We had a lot of fun You know, just really enjoyed doing the show. I still enjoy doing it, and this game is fun to track. This is a one thing about Destiny. But love it or hate it, it is a very compelling, intriguing game to monitor and track, and it is so damn polarizing. And I love it. I love it. Still love it. It was cool to get back to playing this week. I love doing this podcast. Trav has been a tremendous addition, holding the fort down. I call him Lord Contrarian. but he you know what I'm saying? I love it.
Lord
because
Spicy
you
Meatball takes.
Yeah, you love to see different takes, and he's spicy and he's absolutely hilarious. We've been holding this fireplace down and for a long time, and it's just fun to see the growth of the show, to see people come on that haven't come on and just tell us how much they enjoy doing the show with us. And it's just cool, man. We had Tom Warren this year. We had some Tassie came back. Tassie and Travis with that. That was classic.
That was like our biggest audio numbers wise.
Biggest episode.
Yeah, our biggest episode on every platform. The Tassie and Travis fight. So
classic. You know, the trial saga. That was hilarious. It's just been a fun year. And then to see, let's be honest, we got some recognition by Bungie, and to see the community and people respect our opinions and come to us and say, hey, you guys run a good show. That's dope. You know, so love doing it. Next year's future is bright. We'll see how everything goes with, hopefully the world doesn't get too more crazy and we can all meet up in the flesh and everybody can hang out again. But yeah, it's been a tremendous year, man. Happy New Year to everybody in the chat. Everybody, please enjoy themselves. Be safe. But E, what about you, man? And thank you for the intro, E. Nice little secret squirrel intro that you pulled up. That was very cool.
Gotta throw a curveball in this show every now and then. No, it's been a pleasure between the channel, and just watching this thing grow. The number of people that we've been able to meet and spend a couple hours with, and that's the thing about our show. It's like whether we get an hour or two, it's more than just like a 10-minute interview or something. We get to spend an extended amount of time. Walls tend to come down a little bit, and we get to see some really fun conversations with some really, really great creators and just a lot of friends of the show that we have made over the course of the past year. And it's just been an absolute blast. I don't want to go too long because I did my intro before. So you guys are amazing. Chat, audio listeners, video listeners, watchers, however you consume this show and however it makes into your ears and eyes. Thank you all for the support, the growth, and everything. You guys have been amazing, and to my two co-hosts, couldn't do it without you, and thank you guys so much. So for this episode number 178, happy 2021, guys. Be safe, probably stay at home, and shout out in 2021 to hopefully an ice shaker. But have a very happy and safe new year. We will see you in 2022. So for this episode and for 2021, it has been the last word.
Last word.
All right, everybody, we're going to wrap this thing up. So thank you all. Have a good one. Be safe out there and have a happy New Year's. And we will see you next year, which sounds weird.
Happy New Year. Ladies and gents, see y'all in 2022.